I
Oh
brought
wow.
out Jamie Baby. Um, I got my glass ready. I got some Fireball airport bottles just in case you don't know where we're gonna go off. So
Oh yeah.
Exactly. I'm already
Thank
on
you
my
guys.
second
Thank you
one.
guys for having me,
Oh, you're
Oh, of
welcome.
course,
Thank
of
you for
course,
coming on.
and
for
thank you
sure.
for everybody that's in chat. So
Yeah, we already got almost 1,200, 1,200 of you guys already in the chat. Thank you guys
show up.
so much. Thank you. I'm having a little bit of so we had actually had 1028 a distillery in the building about 3 4 months ago. So he hooked us up with a couple bottles. This is their whiskey. It's out of Texas. If you're in Texas, you probably
Ooh,
find it at the liquor store. It's really good, spicy. You can taste the wood in it. It's amazing. I'll be drinking that and some Crown as well.
oh, some peach, some apple. What do we got?
Salted
Just straight.
caramel.
I'm just doing straight. Like I was even gonna just straight. I might throw some ice cubes in there from time to time to make it a rocks.
No, I'm not. I'm mixing it a little bit because if not, I'll
You're
start
mixing it.
slurring. I'll start slurring. I'll start slurring. I'll
I
drink
gotta
too
get the
much.
whiteboard out. We gotta keep track here.
It's
Well,
okay. You know what? I'll keep up to her. Okay. I'll do
Oh,
my
see, what
vodka
do you
for
what
you.
do you got? This is
he's
straight
drinking
vodka.
Just straight vodka. Polar bear vodka.
Big Blue. He don't get too crazy now. We don't want to repeat of why you got shadow banned on TikTok.
You did?
It's a rumor. It's a rumor that he
All
was.
right,
He
we'll
did
we'll
a.
keep we'll keep the
And
rumor
then
going.
for the other drink of the night, everybody wants to hear the pop, so here it goes.
Now we can start.
Now we
Now,
can start. Now we can start. So, everybody, we decided we'd come together, do a collab, just kind of talk about the case, talk about being, on YouTube, podcast, the whole 9 yards. So, truth and transparency. How long have you had your channel, and how long have you been doing true crime?
Let's see. I have had my channel since March of 2021,
Hmm.
so not that long. Uh, True crime. Been involved with true crime for. I mean, I've followed cases since I was younger with different family members, but my channel started in 2021 March, um, and and here we are. But I started up a nonprofit. So the
Got
reason
you.
for my channel is to promote the nonprofit Fight for a Family.
okay.
Got you. Got you. And can you tell us a little bit about that nonprofit?
Yeah, yeah. It's designed. It's a little smaller of like a innocence project.
Hmm.
So it's designed to be crowd based for resources in terms of there's a lot of people out there. Their case is not high profile. They're trying to fight a wrongful conviction, and you got families out there that want to help their loved ones, and they don't even know where to begin. So it's helping people that are less fortunate, financially.
Hmm.
So I donate my time to, possibly get lawyers, expert witnesses, dive into like the discovery, break it all up, see what I can put together, try to talk to whoever to, hey, take another look at this, put it on a platform to get some hype behind it. Because at the end of the day, um, when when you're making noise, people listen.
Yeah. No,
So
100%. That's an amazing thing. Thank you for the work you put in. You
yeah,
do some awesome extensive work as well on YouTube by bringing
thank you.
in body cam footage,
Hmm.
another perspective that most of us wouldn't see or have the opportunity to see. Is that something that you've always done? Is try to get as much information from the police as possible?
Yeah, the police. Also, it's just the research end of it. When you actually read something, um, you'll be amazed at what you can pull out of it. But you got to sit down with it. It takes a lot of time behind. When you're out here being live all the time, you don't have a time to like do all that. So I stay up, but it's taking the material that you get and then processing it and then putting it out there and making a product out of it so that people can understand why you're putting it out there, what it's about. So the body cam footage for this case for the University of Idaho murders, I'm trying to get away from saying Idaho 4 because I don't want to make it seem like we're uh, diminishing anything with the victims and that
Right.
label. Um, but it was a look into, you know, college life there which I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I went to college. I played 2 sports as an athlete at the University of Cincinnati. And part of college life is hanging out with your friends, having a good time, and just putting it out there to show like this is what it was like there, and that especially like this was like a before there was a suspect, who could have done this and why would they do this,
Right.
and how accessible was it. The thing that with that street though is it's like, is it king, is it queen? So
Yeah.
we went a little different route to obtain some stuff. We didn't go with that address. We went with things that we thought could possibly make it pop. Because you could do a records request all day, but if you don't know what you're requesting, how are you going to get something?
Right. Exactly.
So we got creative with it.
Yeah, I've never pulled one before. I've been on the opposite end of it. In law enforcement, so I've never had to pull them like that.
Yeah, right.
We had a $2 super chat real quick. Where'd it go?
Oh, okay.
It says we need to get Kim to call tonight ASAP. Maybe I'll message her and see if she can. I know that she spoke with Olivia from the Chronicles of Olivia.
I saw that right before I came on here.
Right.
I didn't get to watch it or anything like that. I just saw that there was a video dropped and it said on a phone, Kim WSU. So I figured it was.
Yeah. Olivia had reached out to me, had notified me probably about sometime last week, maybe right after the show had aired, and had asked me. She told me that she had a connection with Steve Goncalves. They had a couple of questions, and asked if they could have her phone number. And I said,
absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, let me verify that with her first, and she said, yeah, if Steve and them have questions about anything, I'd love to answer them. And so Olivia went, vetted her as well, found all the information that I found out to be accurate about who she is. There's a lot of things that she says that it's like not from the first person.
Yeah, it's hearsay.
Right. Well, not so much even that aspect. Like, for instance, we put out that show, right? And like a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, we're surfing Facebook and we see a post saying that on the turkey show, Dylan's mom called in and said that Dylan had called her at 10 a.m. or something like that. And I was like, man, that is way off from what we said. And so those type of things end up happening in these type of situations where you find, we have a new member. Thank you so much. And a super sticker. Thank you. Cheers. We drink to those. Cheers.
Oh God.
Salud.
Salud is right. We're going to be here all night. If they get on that super chat train.
Right. Last time, Big Blue had to leave early.
I also did mix mine. So I mixed it with cranberry, pineapple, passion fruit. You guys want to try that out with vodka?
Ooh, passion. You got me with passion.
You gotta live life with passion. There's no other way.
Right. And so when it came to Kim and hearing her story, I had heard a lot of, here we go again.
Great.
Cheers. I had heard what she was saying, and a lot of it was, coming from her daughter and then her daughter's friends. And so when I looked at it, I know that with rumors and stuff like that, she's pretty close, but she's not connected, right? Mm-hmm. That there's probably some truth there, but it might be a little bit exaggerated. And so what we did with her story is try to find the meat and potato.
Tailor it, yeah.
Yeah, and just what she was actually told and what was there. And so what we had came up with, based on her information and what she told us, was that there was at least multiple people that were seen. People were called ahead of the cops, which we all already knew about because she summoned her friends.
Yeah, they were.
And that these folks had an idea of what had occurred before the 911 call. And so those were the things that stood out to me when it came to her story. I was also concerned about the fact that
you told everybody that we had to drink every time somebody puts in some money.
We're going to be drugged by the first 5 minutes. Thank you so much, everybody.
I'll just
cheers to the new members. Yeah,
Salud.
if you get a membership, guys, you don't have to wait for the slow-mo. So like that's a perk. I didn't even know that that was a perk. So I actually found that out, I think this past week, that if you are a member, slow motion,
Yeah.
genuine, who is it, jaw rule, slow motion for me, it doesn't apply to you when you're a member.
Oh, nice.
Thank you
So
guys so much. We appreciate each of you. I'm going to need another drink here in a minute now.
Mm.
That's already 2 down, man. That's 2 down.
I'm down. Woo!
I'm gonna have to get my
I just
bottle.
want to give a shout out to all my mods. I saw Mike drop in Boston, Mod Squad. I see you guys in chat, so
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
yeah,
Thank
they're
you.
sweethearts. Besties
And,
right there.
and so, you know, there's a
Bella.
lot. There was a lot in your story that we found everything to be credible. It's just some of it we couldn't verify it. And so we tried to stick to just what we knew she was told
Mhm.
and from where it was told. And the way we were able to verify it, it was out on the Chronicles of Olivia documentary. So what's that, Blue?
I said
Oh,
we
Blue
gotta-
wants to just drink. I see him. He's like,
No, I just keep seeing the money pour in. Like they keep
I see
saying,
it.
I already drank half a bottle of vodka already.
Hey guys, we gotta do some talking here. Jeez. You mean juvenile? Juvenile, yeah. Ja Rule, juvenile.
And so I found everything she said was to be credible. I found her story to be
My question
authentic.
was, it was when she said that she called on the 13th. Is she talking about like the 13th of November or like the 13th of December when she said she called the FBI?
It was the 13th of November.
Okay, so because I mean,
So
the FBI didn't have a line yet though. That was the only thing with me is I saw that they were looking like Moscow to take those
Right.
calls. She just
Well,
went straight for the FBI.
I don't know if she called the FBI. I assumed when you said that, that's what she said. I don't-
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
She
I
said
don't know
FBI,
if
but
she-
maybe she just meant like police.
Right. She told us that she contacted the authorities as soon as her daughter had said that she had gotten word or wind of of what had happened prior to the police being there. She thought that was that whoever gave her that information needs to come forward, and that was what her goal was.
Was to basically flush out like, hey, you need to say what you know.
Right, exactly. And so there's a little bit of suspicion on her part on the potential roommate's boyfriend, who is a University of Idaho football player. Apparently, her suspicion is, so she went and dropped off her daughter at her off-campus sorority house, similar to like what Kaylee and them lived in.
Okay.
And that her roommate, she didn't see her there, but they've been friends of hers. They normally see her. The next day, when all this goes down, the daughter tells her that the roommate and the boyfriend had spent the night there, and Kim's like, I didn't see them there. I didn't see them there. And then at some point, the story changes to the boyfriend wasn't there, and the boyfriend was back in Moscow. And I'm trying to get all the information, try to remember it, but
So was it her daughter dated an athlete? Who dated the athlete?
no, the roommate.
Okay. I was just an athlete, so I was just curious on that. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
played. There was both teams had home football games on Saturday.
Right. And the roommate's boyfriend, he plays for the University of Idaho Vandals, and he apparently is close to everybody there.
Okay.
Kim's in the chat, guys.
Oh,
Awesome.
hi Kim.
Hi, Kim. Maybe I'll get you to call in a little bit if you can. And so she had one concern was that her daughter's story had changed. So she immediately, once she found that out, and that wasn't an immediate thing that she found, that was, I believe, over a week. Her daughter had said something like, "Oh, the boyfriend, the athlete didn't spend the night." At that point, she called the police to inform them, or the person that's assigned to her, to inform them that the story had changed and that she had caught her daughter lying. And at that point, that the officer had told her that they're not surprised that a lot of these students had been lying, and their stories had been changing quite a bit. And I think there's evidence of that as well, even down to the part of DM Dylan, I'm sorry, where she, in the airmail article, I'm not sure if you've read it. She initially tells the officers that she slept through the incident, and then later on that day, she changed her story to she saw somebody. And so, a lot of what she's saying is kind of consistent. The fact that there was a flock of people outside. Moscow is a small community. The university is kind of small, so I would anticipate that a lot of people would be sending out messages like, "Hey, we're out here and something crazy just happened." Oh wow!
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I have to stop this real quick. $49.99. Thank you, Moflo.
Moflo. Slow
Appreciate
motion
you.
for me.
I swear,
So,
my bottle's almost done. I have to go get another bottle.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to go get some more here in a minute too. And so, that's what she was telling me, and that's what I had understood. And the one thing that she had found a concern about was there was blood in a washer at the laundromat that her daughter uses, and she was concerned about that. She said that they contacted the police. The reason I didn't put it out there was because she said the police said that somebody had a bloody nose, but this is Washington State University. Yeah. I'm not sure who all has access to that laundromat.
Was it on campus or was it like a...
I asked her. It sounds like it was one that may have been connected to not her house, but like the group of housing that they're with.
Yeah.
And so I asked her for the address and stuff. I haven't gotten that yet. If it ends up being connected to a certain place, then I probably won't put that out there because that might indicate, who's there and who lives there.
Yeah, people don't need to be harassed, so I get that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so I found her to be pretty credible. Her story hasn't changed.
I want to make sure that I got the gist of it, though, that because where I see, so at 10 a.m., who received a call? Somebody receive a call or like a Snapchat at 10 a.m.?
So what she had told me was
because out of like the 12, 11:58 was a 911 call. How long before?
So what she had told me was that at 5 o'clock she got the shelter in place because they were out there in Pullman. And at 5 o'clock she got the shelter in place. So she contacted her daughter. Her husband contacted her son.
Who got the shelter in place? Anybody that was within cell tower?
Yeah, it was like an Amber Alert.
Okay. I was curious if it just, that makes sense that if you're within the cell tower ranges of a certain area, that's how you get notified, even if you didn't have your cell phone number in. You get what I'm trying to say?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, it was like,
I don't think people realize, I don't think people understand that. I think people need to understand that when you get an Amber Alert in a certain area, it goes based off of if your phone is within a certain tower, in certain towers of an area, you're going to get that.
She said that WSU parents get alerts
But I also think that if your cell phone is within a tower range.
Yeah, no, it does, because when I was out in Colorado, I was getting alerts from their emergency services system, and I had nothing to do with them. So yeah, she got the alert. She contacted her daughter, and her daughter was like, "I already know about that."
At 5 p.m. she contacted her saying,
and her daughter said that she's like, "I knew about it since this morning."
Okay.
And her mom asked, "When did you find out?" She's like, "About 10:30." And so,
and she's sure it was like 10:30 versus like 12:30.
Well, she said that her daughter used the word morning, and so she knows it was before noon. And that she thinks that when she said, "Well, what time?" that her daughter said around 10:30. It may have been 11. I don't think that that's not a big stretch. Especially if you're calling something at 5.
Yeah, I think what's going to be the best part about all of this is that footage from 1112 is going to have anybody that was pulling up in a vehicle that morning. It's going to be on camera, and that's what's going to be, awesome, is that whoever was driving over there, whoever was walking over there, if you walked in that path, that camera would have gotten the Elantra, just like you're going to be on camera too. So like everything that would have happened outside that house that morning, or AKA at that 11:58 phone call, all of that should be on camera. If not, at least if they want to talk about voices. But if you're catching the white Elantra, you're going to catch who's ever driving that morning between the hours of 10 a.m. And noon to see, you know, what time people were coming there, what time a car was coming there, like if it was Hunter, you know, Chapin's brother or
Mhm.
sister that drove over there, or was that car there from the night before? Um,
Right.
so I think that that's going to be huge for the case because, you know, they would have been looking at that just as much as they would have been looking at the footage from 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. You
Right.
know, you're looking at that. You know, what time did somebody come running out to
Right.
be in hysteria? Like, I'm
Yeah.
hysterical because of what I just saw. You know, and then she fainted outside, all of that type of talk. Is that really how it went down? And if they say like, oh, well, we don't have any footage from that. Well, I'm going to call flat out bullshit.
Right.
They
I
didn't
don't.
have
Oh,
footage of the Elantra.
I don't think that anybody fainted. Um, I think that was just somebody coming out with a story. Because on this airmail thing, it says that the officer pulled up and everybody was just in silence. There wasn't anybody who's needing medical attention. If somebody fainted, there would have been an ambulance that would have gone and would have been attending that person whether or not, you know,
Oh
they
yeah,
wanted to. And so it doesn't say that there was people being attended by the medical personnel. It doesn't even say an ambulance ever showed up. So, you know, it says that there was one word that was muttered out from the crowd that was dead. They walked in. As they walked in, it smelled like blood. And so um, I don't know why or what or how somebody else called 911 from that one person's phone. But from what I understand, there was the dispatcher talked to several people on the phone,
hmm
and there was
they
a
did.
big crowd. There was a big crowd that was out there, um, kind of just already.
Well, if you're
Just
removing
there.
things though from like a house, like because something that I was told, and I have proof of the date that I was told this, is that there was Narcan in the house. So, I mean, that's something that came out when I say at the beginning. I'm talking like November, like before November 20th. Um, so if you go into a crime scene and you're removing anything, I mean, that's tampering with evidence.
Yeah. Well, there's one big eye-opening clue that somebody tampered with something, and that is the stools being put on the back sliding door.
Yeah, I would love to know if that was.
That's not law enforcement. They wouldn't touch
I
that.
would never think that it would be because why would law enforcement do that? Like, what are you
Right.
doing? That makes no sense to me.
Right.
Um,
And so
we
that
we've
law
talked about that
enforcement,
too.
yeah, law enforcement wouldn't touch anything in that house that like that. They That's part of the evidence, and so they had to have found it that way. For instance, if you look at the string lights outside in the back, those are plugged in. Had
Yeah,
they
they left
been
that alone.
unplugged, they would have secured them and took them out because there was a possibility that the suspect unplugged them and left DNA on the plug. So they would have bagged and tagged that.
I know
Since it was left in, they left it there and left it alone.
somebody's asked like a few times if we can slow the chat down, but I think it's at its lowest point.
Yeah, I slowed it down even more. I have it at a minute and a half almost.
Keep
Yeah,
asking. I'm sorry, we slowed it down a few times already, guys.
yeah. I apologize, y'all. Um, and so,
That's why if y'all see me looking down, because I'm also a
oh, we
moderator, so I'm like go back.
yeah, we have like a few moderators. I think we have like three in the building. Um, and so, you know, that if Dylan's story is accurate, that she saw him the third time and they suspect that he left out that sliding glass door, he didn't put those stools behind him. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, I get what
Somebody
you're
else had
saying.
to.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
And
saying.
and
Um,
apparently the front door was open at 9 a.m.
see, the thing that makes me nervous about that, about saying that law enforcement didn't do it, is law enforcement's been really quick to go to the press, type it in each night when they want to. We're going to address this rumor because people want they're calling about this as this, so we're going to address this rumor.
Mhm.
They've never once addressed the stools. So if I could recommend people to ask the MPD who put those stools there because they've always addressed something when it's been like, this is a rumor, this is a rumor, this is a rumor. They've never addressed that. And my concern is the only thing I can think about is if that was put into after the fact, only reason being is to secure the scene because they were processing that scene for very, very many days. And if they just thought, okay, well, we'll do this we've already done stuff with that part of the house. So let's put these stools here like that. Also, it's going to be a very simple question to the roommates that are the surviving roommates and the people that would ever been there to say, hey, have you ever seen this put like that? But the police never commented on it. And that's my hang up, is that they've never commented to say, we saw those pictures. We didn't do that. They've never commented on that. And so now I agree with you. Law enforcement should have never done that. But do I think that they could have? Absolutely. Only because they've never commented on it to say that they didn't.
If they did, that would be a huge mistake. So
100%.
let's just say that that's accurate, right? That the police did that, or not even that part. Let's just say Bryan Kohberger ran out that door. He just committed 4 heinous crimes that took a lot of physical exertion. Him running out that way, he could have hair, sweat. If he cut himself, any of those things could have landed on those stools. There's pictures from it where you can see inside, and there's other stools there that resemble the 2 that are there. So part of a set, they're nearby that door. And so that would be like a huge tampering of evidence if it was secured by them. Now, the reason I bring up the door open at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, I saw this in my chat. They talked about the smell being bad. Maybe they were airing out the house.
Yeah. I mean, I also don't think that I think that we should hold caution on what exit whoever was there used, only because I would love to know. I mean, we have a drone over top of it. There's no visible blood. You know what I'm saying? There's no visible, like somebody opening up the slider and it being blood. There's just no visible to the naked eye, like when you're looking at it, that there's this blood. So I'm just curious in terms of when you talk about at 417, you hear a thud and then you hear whimpers. Is that somebody going out the top room off the balcony and jumping down to hear that thud? So is an exit point possibly upstairs out the balcony top?
See, at first
door?
my theory was they jumped onto the balcony from the side, but after we saw a couple of videos of some close-ups, it'd be a far jump. But they can climb.
I think she's referring to the front house, right?
Yeah, I'm just referring to.
So yeah, my theory
the top balcony, like that's
Right.
not a tall jump for
Right.
me. Like if somebody wanted to hop over, like if you're on that top balcony, like that's not
off the 3rd floor.
you can jump down onto that couch.
Gotcha.
You can jump down, even just hit the ground. I mean, that is not like that's
Shoot.
nothing.
At the end of
Right.
tonight,
The only reason I say that is because there's no blood, coming out the front door. There's no naked to the visible eye that we see,
Right.
and around that, slider. And then you just think about the 417. If you open up that slider, you hear a dog barking because you just opened up the slider. So you hear the dog barking, then you close the slider, then you jump off the balcony. That's the thud, but you hear the dog barking. So I'm just curious when that all comes out, if possibly somebody went out that
I just want to say, guys,
Right.
top room.
it was empty. And it was brand
Jesus Christ, Blue.
It was
We're
brand
34 minutes into this.
new. I might get a show by the end of the night.
Oh man, he's gonna get a shadow ban. So, no, I completely understand that aspect of it. See, that would make sense if that would explain the stools being there as well. Maybe he walked in, locked people inside by putting the stools there, and then went about his business. Going upstairs or downstairs first and then upstairs.
Yeah. and it's all speculation right now in terms of like where there's blood trail and where there's not. I just know that for right now, they've never they've never said which way this person entered or exited. And I just say, hey, there's 3 points to enter, and if you want to go one step further, there's windows. But at the end of the day, I think that everything that Kim woman is saying will be confirmed or denied based on if they have the footage from the neighbor, because they're going to have that.
Right.
But yeah,
And I think that people need to remember that, like, it's not like they just have that footage from 3 to 6, a.m. They're going to have all of that. So where, let's say that I'm an investigator and you're an investigator, and we're like having like a moment, like we're like, hey, we have the camera. Look at these people that came here. It's like 10:30. They didn't call us until almost 12. What the hell's going on? What's going on here? And then we hear, okay, we didn't call you because there was drugs in here and we were scared and we didn't know what to do. And you know what I mean? Like, and then
They
you're
may
like, okay,
they may know already. If the story goes that when the office, that even on the probable cause affidavit, it said that the surviving victims summoned their friends before they called 911. It doesn't say when they summoned them.
correct.
And so it could have been summoned at 11, right when they say that they woke up, and then it's a small town. Somebody could get there within 5-6 minutes, and then there's the rumor starting by 11:05, 11:10, and it's starting to spread, and then everybody knows but the police at 11:58. That's highly possible.
How about Kaylee's parents being told that there was a shoot up? How about that?
Yeah,
That somebody came in and shot up a place that they were at having a get together, and somebody came in and basically they shot up the place. I mean, so that's just like when I think of what you heard. I just think of that. But I think that if there's documentation of a call being made or a Snapchat, even if like it's past the 24-hour, like they can get to those things. I truly believe that whatever happened that morning is going to be on that camera, because how else do you get to that house unless you're a back neighbor and you're coming up from behind the house? Like, that camera should have all of that. I think that, because otherwise, how are you going to sit here and say that, okay, hey, we have the Elantra, we have these other two cars, but we don't have any of that in the morning? I call bullshit.
I want to pronounce your name right, so I want to ask you: is it Lana or Lana?
Lana.
Lana. Okay.
Thank
Lana.
you, Big Blue, for asking.
Yeah, I don't want to say it wrong. For Lana,
Thank you.
Him leaving the sheet there? Do you think that's just arrogant, or because this guy's supposed to be smart? He's supposed to know his shit. He's got 3 degrees, and he forgot the damn sheet there. I mean, come on.
I don't think it really has to do with degrees at that point. But what I question is I question somebody. You would have wiped it down before you ever used it, and you would have had gloves on. So when did it get the DNA on it? And then how many other samples are on there? Like, is there no blood on that sheath? Is it just his DNA from the button, but no blood? Like, so it's an untouched, just it's there's no blood on it. There's no nothing on it, but just his DNA on the button, or unidentified. I like to per se it's unidentified male DNA. But think about that. Think about, with all the splatter and everything like that, that doesn't get touched with any blood. So there's no other subject DNA on it.
I mean, there could be. They just only probably maybe brought that out as far as the DNA because
curious.
it was unaccounted DNA.
Yeah, it was unidentified, right?
Yeah, it wasn't part of the Maddie or Kaylee.
But normally you would say, because you want to, like, I think that'd be more powerful to say that there was other, the victim's DNA on there.
Yeah, but the power of that doesn't come into play until court. The PCA is just to determine that there's enough evidence to arrest somebody. And so I'm not surprised that they don't say that or put that in there.
Oh, I can't say. Yeah, I agree with that they wouldn't put that
But
in
they're
there. But
putting a lot of stuff that's not even
relevant. The dog
bruh.
isn't relevant at all.
Like they put
Unless you
that
go
in
with the theory of that you hear the dog barking and what room it was in.
right. But the one part I didn't like was, and I'll share my screen real quick. So this is the I gotta move my drinks down. This is the area, right? They talk about this being a possible exit. This is Paulus River
Yes.
Road and Constega, because this road here you can take it directly to Pullman, right? You just follow it. You end up in some weird
You're going to come
long
up by
way,
Bishop. Yeah.
and you end up here in Pullman. And when they talk about him pulling into Pullman, they talk about this that it would be the same road as if he left over here. However, they know he didn't go this way because he's pinged down here.
Correct.
So why put this narrative in there?
Because that's how they obtained that search warrant for his apartment. The whole thing about it is that they said that he was, if you would leave the crime scene and go home, that you would have blood all over you and there should be blood in that apartment.
Right, but by putting that there and whatnot,
Oh, I'm
that
not
would
going
give
to.
his defense some.
Yeah, I disagree completely with but that's what they said. Like that, and they know damn well that where is Bryan Kohberger? This is your guy. He should have been at that point when you leave at 4:20. He should have been at that point in Pullman on that Bishop. He should have been there within, 15 minutes, 16
sure.
minutes, and he's not. He's there 5:36 or something.
I think he was disposing of the murder weapon. That's what it is.
100.
100. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when I say that, I'm saying, but it's funny to me to hear, like, we think he came straight home. No, you don't.
No, they don't. They don't think that at all.
Well, I have a better question for you guys.
Yeah. Ask. I want to.
Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
You know that you're looking for a white Elantra, at least by November 14th. By the time that you get the video and you want to look at it, we're looking for a white car. Then you get the FBI. Okay, they're here on the 15th. Okay, we're looking for an Elantra. Why do you wait until November 25th to ask law enforcement that's right around you, hey, here's your BOLO. Here's your, be on the lookout. Here, we're looking for a white Elantra. Why would you wait all those days to ask surrounding law enforcement so you know about it November 14th, maybe 15th, I'll give you that. Why are you waiting until the 25th of November to ask WSU, to ask other law enforcement agencies around you to say, hey, we're looking for an Elantra? Why would you wait 12 days?
I mean, they did some weird stuff. They also put out, after they've already identified Bryan Kohberger as a possible suspect, they put out to the public to be on the lookout for a 2011 to 13 Hyundai Elantra when they knew that their vehicle was a 2015. I don't understand why they would do that.
But I'm saying, do you not trust the police? Do you not trust somebody in law enforcement that you're not asking law enforcement to help you because, okay, we suspect somebody in law enforcement?
I think my theory. I'll let you talk first. No, you good? Okay.
I'm just saying, like, hey, we have this car. Like, we have. And you think he got out of Dodge? Why aren't you immediately going to law enforcement to say, hey guys, like, we're looking for a white Elantra. We don't know the exact year right now, but we're looking for white Elantras.
They probably already had eyes on him.
Yeah. I think they already had eyes on him. And that one thing, they were already going through his trash, going through his record.
It boils down to November 14th.
I'm saying between November 13th and November 25th. That's the time frame I'm saying. Like, why did they wait till November 25th to ask other law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout, and then they get something back on November 29th about, hey, we found, but then they claim we didn't get that because it went to a tip. But you guys know that November 29th is the same day that they moved the vehicles of all the victims. It's the same day that they were at Bryan Kohberger's car. Isn't that just wild?
That
That's
is
pretty
weird.
wild. That is
But
pretty
this
wild.
is what tells me that they were aware of him. Investigators found 845 did connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on the 14th, but investigators do not believe that phone was in there on that date.
I don't think it's fair that
So,
you've been drinking water and I've been drinking liquor all damn night.
Oh, I'm right here with you.
no, I've been drinking, bro. I've been drinking. I'm drinking. And my question about this is so
I'm
what
saying that
makes them think?
all of that happens though when they do like the digitals after the fact.
Well, not to point any fingers, but if one story changed from one thing, or maybe not so much change, but somebody adds to their story throughout the day. I slept. You know what? I saw somebody. You know what? That person was this person. And I know this person because of this. Now they don't need to. It would be smart of the police department to put that somebody identified him in that probable cause affidavit, unless they're trying to protect that person.
I think that Bryan Kohberger's name was given up at some point.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because, and I think it was given up very soon because
100.
it says here that on November 14th, they don't believe he was there on that date. That's the entire day. How in the hell would they? I mean, it'd be one thing if, it was, all right, he was pinged at 12 o'clock, but at 12 o'clock, we have him on CCTV at over here, right? But it says that entire day. Not at that time.
Yeah, like we don't believe that they say we don't believe that his phone. They don't say that we don't believe that Bryan Kohberger was there. We don't believe his phone was there.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, investigators don't believe that his phone connected to a tower that provided service to Moscow, but we don't believe that his phone, right? But investigators do not believe that phone was in Moscow that day. So they're doing that after December 23rd. So for me, though, with this case is December 23rd, they're already to the point that they were able to get a judge to allow them to do the historical data for the day before and the day after the homicide. I'm still hung up on the fact of how do you get to Bryan Kohberger's name? It would take you a lot. Like you can't get to his name because if you actually look at something, the camera loses the Elantra on Walenta. So now how are you going to put this? Okay, so you lose the Elantra on Walenta, which is right by the homicide, okay? You lose it. Now what we need to do is that's when they put out like, hey, we need you guys to all bring us the video. Remember, like Linda Street came in. We need all the footage that we can get, whether there is content on it or not, because we need to start eliminating the past that this white Elantra took. So basically, if you're bringing me something from the street Colt, you're bringing, like they wanted everything south of Taylor, and they wanted this on November 19th, and that's when they started this on November 19th. Because we need something, whether or not it has anything on it or not, so we can just start eliminating streets, okay, to try to find this guy's path. And in the PCA, they talk about this white Elantra, the 700 block of Indian Hills. They talk about it on Steiner. Then they get to the King at 329, okay? And they have it making loops or whatever. But for me, it's like, okay, it leaves, you don't have an eye on it from Walenta on. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to sit here and tell me and tell all of us that this vehicle then pops up at 4:48. I'm sorry, the phone pings, but you wouldn't know that yet because you're not to that point. You see it on 5:36 p.m. or a.m. over there in Washington Pullman on Johnson and Bishop, okay? That's at 5:36 a.m. So you're taking a white Elantra at 5:36 a.m. on Johnson and Bishop and you're taking a white Elantra that was, how did you find that white Elantra on Johnson? You know how many white Elantras there are? That they already told us there's 22,000. And if you actually extend the criteria to what the extra 2 years would be, it's going to be more than 22,000. So you wouldn't be labeling it suspect vehicle 1. You'd be labeling it the plate number if in fact if you could see that anywhere.
Right.
So you're saying that from 4:24, let's say 4:24 a.m. is last time you have them, or even like they said 4:20. Now you want to put this white Elantra that's, in Washington at Bishop and Johnson 1300 block is there at 5:36 a.m. and that's the car. How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions.
Just think about that. Like, how much policing that would, how long that would take to do? It's going to take way more than like what they. So that's I guess my question is why wouldn't police be asking other police for help immediately? Mm-hmm. In terms of, hey, you have an agency and I have an agency, and I come to you and I'm like, Daniel, dude, we just had a quadruple homicide. I'm telling you, people go back and forth between here, our campus to your campus. I need you guys to start looking for a white Elantra. Right. We have the FBI here, but wouldn't I come to you right away to start like getting on the WSU footage? And it's not even WSU footage. It's going to be, we need all the exit and entry points into your campus from my campus.
Right.
So I'm going to be like, hey, Daniel, what do you think? We have this vehicle. Here you go. Why wouldn't I come and sit down with you, November 15th, November 16th? Why am I coming to you on November 24th and just saying, hey, law enforcement captains out there, we're looking for this type of a car?
Yeah, it's super suspicious.
And then you're going to sit here and tell me, you want me to believe that two dudes that have nothing to do with each other, they're not working the same beat, nothing like that. They both decide on the same within 20 minutes, 12:28 a.m. and 12:58 a.m. So 30 minutes. Same night. One guy's going to do a little write-up, type it in. How many Elantras do we have here on campus?
I think I know why they waited.
And then the other one, I just happened to go by, Steptoe Apartments, and I just stumble upon my dick. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, you really want me to believe that? Okay, well, I'm not.
Here's why they waited.
I'm not.
They knew who he was, and they probably assumed that he may have.
Boom. They knew who he was.
And he had some kind of access to the police department in Washington.
Boom. So again, you're not trusting.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it had to come back to they knew who he was. And, that's the only reason why they wouldn't go there is if they assumed it was a police officer or somebody who had access to the police department's inventory or, and he was, so based on what Kim was telling me, because her son was a pre-law student there, and that she had a little bit of information about the different programs that are available. And the PhD program that he is available, I think only like 2 get accepted, and they have to do something when it comes to with the police. And so I think they recognized who he was. They figured out that he may have access to police information.
So guess what I did? You have this up. Go to the WSU Police Department. Do you know where it's at? It's WSU Police Department. Check this out.
Are you doing that? I want to say thank you to the almost 3,000 people in the live chat.
3,000 turkeys in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said that without slurring a word.
I had to get another bottle. You guys making me.
So, wait, what do you got to do? Bottle?
I got a new bottle.
Got a new bottle.
You need a model. You need a model to go with your bottle.
Look, I'm gonna take a shot just for y'all.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
buddy.
Cheers.
Salud, amigos. Salud, mi amigos. Salud, mi amigo.
Is it called the
Yeah, if
Pullman
you put
Police
it, yeah,
Department?
just put in Washington State, WSU Police. It should. It's on the corner of Olympia. Yeah, there you go. You might even be the campus police, but
I almost got more kick than the Dallas Cowboys kicker.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to close my my Google Earth and open it back up.
no, this is
my Google Earth sucks sometimes. Let's see.
You know, Lana,
one-
thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us. I mean,
yeah, we're gonna be on next week, y'all.
Yes.
We will probably be as intoxicated as he is now.
Hey, we wouldn't have it any other way.
All right,
Blue is smashing it. Love Miss Nine. There you go.
if I'm off work and I don't have to work, my responsibilities are my daughters, and they're safe. You know,
Okay.
I said,
Hey, well, that's important. Yeah, right there. Okay, perfect. Go ahead and zoom in on that. Check this out. Right here. Do you see this street right here that it's on the corner of that's Olympia right there? And it's so now go down Olympia here. Keep going past that field. Okay, zoom in right there on that field. To the right a little bit, right there. See how it says Rogers Field?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Olympia, this street right here. Okay.
Right.
So go ahead and keep going just a little bit more. Right there, zoom in right there where it says right here. Yep, zoom in. This little part of that street, that's the Nevada Street. This is Nevada Street, this little area right here. Okay. So, you know, in the PCA, when they say that this white Elantra was on Nevada Street heading north. Okay.
Yeah.
The only way that you can head north on Nevada Street is right here, this little strip, just right there. You have to be going from basically Olympia up right here because it's seen here on the corner of this is Stadium Way.
244.
Yeah, Stadium Way is right here, and this is Nevada Street, this little strip right there. And what it does is when you make a left, right there is 270. Well, it's like East Main, but East Main turns into 270. Yeah, that main street, that's 270. That's how you get there. Well, check this out. So what I went and I did is where they put Bryan Kohberger's suspect vehicle 1, the first time they ever say they see it, they don't say they see it up by Steptoe. Right here is the first sighting of it at 2:44 a.m. And then the second sighting of it is literally right there again at 2:53 a.m. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, you're using, so this is what I did. I went ahead and I took a look and I'm like, okay, if I started at I didn't know where Washington State Police Department was at the time, but I said, what's around here? That Papa Rogers account, I'm just throwing this out there for those that are like the conspiracy theorist people. But there's a dorm right there. It's called Rogers Hall, like literally right there where it dead ends into Nevada Street, right where the car was. And there's that Rogers Field. But if you go up that street right there is the WSU Police Department. So if you actually started, because if you left the police department, this is how I think that they don't want to talk about it. If you left the police department, you're coming down Olympia. And then right here, Olympia, you go past the field right there. That's where you make it right. That's Nevada Street. That's the only part of Nevada Street that you could be going north. You have to be coming from Olympia. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and that's what they say. They say they have a camera on this car. Well, then guess what? It's back in the same area at 2:53. So the way that happens is, there you go.
Is this not also Olympia over here? I mean,
Well, but you wouldn't be the only way that you're heading north. So if you could be going this way, but then when you're coming back, it has you going the same route. You see that southeast. So now we're heading south if we cross the street.
Right.
You have to they have it on camera. It says in the PCA, it says we have this white Elantra heading north. You're heading north. And I said, oh my God, well, I believe that there's a chance that he was an intern because they said that he applied for it. They never say if he got it. So why are they saying that?
From what I understand, based on from Kim and her son going through a similar program and having a family friend in that program, applying to be an intern is kind of a formality at that level of PhD. and that he would have had privilege to some of the things at the police department.
Yeah, if you got accepted, right?
Yeah, but I think when you're a PhD student, it's kind of like a given.
Yeah, that you're going to get accepted, right?
Right, but he would have had privilege to some stuff.
Yeah, but
already
guess what
because
else
of
you
the
have to
PhD.
do? You have to put in 20 hours a month.
Right.
So you have to work all football games. You have to do traffic control. You have to do crowd control. And so you're working the football games, okay?
Right.
So I think what better thing to do is to say you're going to, you know, this Elantra just doesn't come on the map at 2:44. Like, where else is it? Oh God, here we go. We got to do a toast to that
We
one.
gotta do a toast to that one. I gotta get new. I'm gonna change it up, y'all. I'm going with the crown. I've taken 5, 4. Dang.
I finished. You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
I finished. There's one question. Why the hell?
Hey, put the mic by your mouth, bro.
There you go. There
There it is.
What the hell was up with the mattress going out after release for the cleanup, then stop defense? Why was Moscow PD putting it in the back of the truck? That's a $50 question, bro. It's
That's a 50. You're damn right. It's a $50.
It's $100 question. See, here,
I love it.
I had a lot of problems where the police handled this situation.
Lana, I want to say thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for saying thank you.
I'm having a good night. You're not having a good night.
Yeah, we could tell, Blue. We could. I think everybody, all 3,100 people in the chat can tell.
You're my boy, Blue.
He sure is. He sure is.
Yeah. If y'all don't know me, I'm a fun person to party with. If you don't know me in real life, y'all know me in the internet life. I party.
Yeah, he does party.
I can party.
He sent us some pictures that you wouldn't believe.
Oh God.
Yeah. He gets
You
crazy.
know, in the last chat, I said I gave stripper pole instructions. I can give stripper pole instructions if I want.
No, we don't. I don't think anybody wants that, Blue.
Nah,
But
I don't think you want it either. But I just offering.
he's
awesome.
offering his services. You know what his song is? Is the milkshake bring all the boys to the yard? That's Blue's song. When
And
he's
my
doing
take
this.
is better than yours.
And so, what do you think about the fact, though, that he's pinged at his house? Now they want us
Well,
to
they don't ping him
believe-
at his house. They ping him on the tower. And so here, you want to see what I got for that? I got something for you.
I'm gonna remove this so I can see what that is.
These are the towers.
Okay.
So like there's X amount of towers in each. So I got Pullman's, I got Moscow's, and where he's pinging. And guess what? WSU's police department pings on the same tower as his house does.
Got you.
So
So they want us to believe that the pings, the 12 times that he was around, the 120, the 1122 residents are super accurate. Yet they put out at least 2 pings that are way off.
well, the
miles.
ping, it's based on tower. Like what they're saying is, it's not pinging at the house. Like that's not what it's doing. It's pinging on a tower,
Right,
tower
no.
that services this area. So
Right,
like,
but they want us to think that they can triangulate that
yeah,
ping
they can try and
to an accuracy, but yet in this PCA, it kind of leads you to believe that he's pinging at his home. Now, I wouldn't have put his address if that was the case. I would have put that his phone pinged heading south throughout Pullman, way it appears so as far as what we gathered on the cameras. I wouldn't put his address. So to put his address there kind of implies.
Well, what they did is they said that it's the same tower that he would use for his address. But guess what else it is? It's the same tower that the WSU Police Department would use. It's the
Right.
same tower that the people from the band would use at the basketball game. That's open so far and
It's
wide.
a public tower.
Well, what the statement isn't false, but the statement isn't like this is where he is. The statement isn't false. Does his phone, when it's at home, ping off of that tower? Yes. But does his phone, when it's at the WSU Police Department, ping off that tower? Yes.
But the truth
But-
is,
And
with
the
But-
defense is going to have a field day with that. Like,
But
just
here's
a
the thing.
field day.
Here's the thing. It says at approximately. Hold on, but it says at approximately 2:47, that phone utilizes cellular resource to provide coverage southeast of Kohberger's residence, consistent with him traveling or leaving Kohberger's residence and traveling south on Pullman.
Like, that's a bunch of bullshit.
And so that tells me, according to this, when you put that sentence along with this sentence, is that he was at home till at 2:42 till 2:47 when he started to travel south.
And I call
And
bullshit.
If that's
Because
the case, then that's
you would have a closer camera on him. Why are they picking him up on Nevada Street then? The fuck out of here. They're
No, I
going to
get
eat
it.
that shit up. They're going to eat that shit up in court. It's not even going to be funny.
you know why? I think
And
He-
Taylor's going to fuck that up. No
He
doubt
had
about it.
he had time.
That's ridiculous. I think that they don't want to talk about where he was prior to, because if you go right up the street, he's at the police department. Do you want to say that the white Elantra was traveling from the police department? I think that's a really big hang up.
Right.
I
No,
think
I
it's
understand
problematic.
that. And it is. The only problem with that is if they don't say that and they continue with this narrative, then that means that there's two vehicles, or the defense is going to say that there's two vehicles that are white Elantras that match the description with the unique identifier of not having a front license plate.
Well, I think what the point was is, remember when they were saying that they can't let out certain things because it's going to cause somebody harm, like
Yeah.
the police. And well, think about what would be bigger than causing somebody harm is if you're going to say that the white Elantra was like, you have it on Nevada Street. Back up the film. Where is
Right.
it before that? Like there's all those cameras there. How are
Yeah.
you just starting it there? And I think that that's problematic.
No, I agree 100% because they have him going on. They show, and this trail of him going home is to indicate or to tell us that this was him going home.
No, this was him leaving to go to
Right. No, I understand that. What I'm saying is at 527 they have him here,
They
and
have him.
here, and what this is indicating is that he's going home. That's what that PCA is trying to tell us.
Mhm.
But they refuse to put him getting there.
Yeah, they stop it because they don't have it.
You see, that's a problem.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so that goes back to my whole point of you're just picking this white Elantra and you're just pinning it on this person versus like, yeah, this white Elantra, we followed it all the way and it turns into Steptoe Apartments. Because then I'd be like, hell yeah, boom, you got him. You know, this is an hour and a half after the murders, okay? And in the one search warrant, you said he went right home. That's what you said, and that's why you thought that there'd be blood, is because of all the splatter. It's going to be all over him. He's going to get it on something.
All right. And man, that search warrant's kind of weak, to be honest with you.
And then we see them walking out with all that shit, and people want to say, like, they can do that. Well, yeah, they can, but they have this little document what they take out of there. Like, I don't understand what people don't get about that.
Yeah, I mean, if one of those hairs come back on the search warrant to one of the victims, they've nailed the guy. But if it ends up coming back not, which is highly possible. I mean, he's only lived in that apartment for like 3 months, and so somebody else could have occupied it. Those hairs could have been from the prior occupant, things of that nature.
It could be his hairs. I mean, whose hairs are? How about this? Like, where were the hairs taken? Were they from the bathroom floor? Where were they?
Man, I don't have it up here anymore. But there was 8 of them found, and I believe
they
that those
never
were
talked about
found.
where they were found.
Right. There was 8 of them found, or 4 of them found, something like that. And it was right after they said that they pulled in the vacuum cleaner. And then it had like 4 other ones that were individually labeled, which tells me that those were found at 4 different parts. They weren't found together. Uh, so yeah, it's a huge question.
I think
Um,
it's poorly written. I think anybody that's going to sit there and tell you that this is an amazing written piece of work is just completely rolling, man. This is not a good written anything. This is groupthink. This is chopped up. You can't have Officer Payne saying the same words as Officer Blaker, and they're both saying that in my experience and blah blah blah.
it's copy
Um,
paste. I'll
yeah,
tell you that
it's
a
copy
lot of
paste, Sean.
situation, like they'll do one report, copy paste, change the names, change the addresses, things of that nature. I can tell you from experience that's pretty common.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you would think in something this like high profile. I mean, come on, you got the FBI working with you. You had
yeah,
60 of them. Like you're putting that. This is what you're putting forward. And I think that if people really take a step back and look at it, and they say to themselves, "Well, Dawn Daniels had the wherewithal to say, we're going to exclude the DNA. We want you to give this on just what we want. We don't want the warrant based on the DNA. We want the warrant based on this." And good thing to women power for thinking, because everything would be thrown out
right.
if they obtained that search warrant and the the DNA was part of it, and then the DNA is inadmissible, and how you obtain it was, not on the up and up. And so she had the wherewithal to say, "We want you to," which I just personally, I think that that should have never been mentioned if that's the case. Um, so I just have a lot of problems with it because I want everybody involved. I don't want somebody doing immunity and we're going to just give you part of it. Like this whole town has been ruined. There's
Mhm.
so many victims here. The people that obviously the most, in my opinion, most important are those that lost their lives. And I think the truth matters to come out for their sake, but also for this university's sake. That would be all the people that go to school there, people that
Right.
work there, live there. Um, you know, if other people were involved and if it has anything to do with a program that offered you, certain capabilities to be able to have information that you wouldn't otherwise have unless you were in this program, whatever it may be, I just think the truth should come out, because if it could save possibly other people's lives down the road. And I think that's what Mr. Gonsalves is saying when he says that maybe some stuff needs to change with protocols. Like, is he discussing things in terms of like, you know, who is Bryan Kohberger? What was he doing? He's supposed to just be like this PhD student, um, shared an office with two other people. Nothing was seized from the office. Then you go over to his apartment. Why wouldn't you ever go and call the dude? Why would you never call him?
Bring him in for questioning.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
They must have, my opinion, I would think they have something pretty profound. But here's the other question.
But you still wouldn't question him to see what you can get him to say so you can use against him?
No, yeah, for sure. You would. I would assume that. I think maybe perhaps they were intimidated by his education, especially a small police department. They may be intimidated by the fact that he was a PhD student in criminology, might
It's
know the law a little bit more than what they do. It
really?
happens. Yeah, it happens when it comes to lawyers and things of that nature. I've seen cops freeze up and do the not so much the wrong thing, but out of not sure if they're going to do the right thing, they end up just like letting somebody go because somebody said they were a lawyer and they understood their rights. One thing though is they had this footage, right? They
That
never
takes a long time to
expanded.
do it.
Yeah, they never expanded the border. They had a border from was it Taylor to Idaho 95, down to the 2700 block of 95 to the Botanical Gardens to right here.
Yeah, they
However, they
never.
had him on footage over here, and they never asked for anything on this side. And now the other question I have,
They're
and
gonna get eaten alive.
hey, Blue, your mic's kind of far. We can't hear what you're saying.
See if there's a lot more cops. See if it's cop. That's my theory.
You think it was a cop? Now,
Yes. I drank a lot tonight, yours.
yeah. So my question is, and from my experience too, is that if somebody's coming over here, they're probably going to come straight here. They're going to drive around until they built enough confidence to do what they're going to do what they do, and then take off. And that's kind of what we have from 329 to the time that he parks and leaves. But he didn't come straight here from Pullman. He came over here. Now, some are saying that
That's where the car came.
yeah, that's where the car came. It was from the 700 block of Indian Hills. And from here, he directly went straight to where the house is and then circled.
So wait, can we just think about that for a second? Can we seriously just think about that for a second? We're just, once again, 236, right?
Yeah, 336. 326.
Yeah, 326. 327. 326, boom. We just, oh my God, we found a white Elantra over here in the 700 block of Indian Hills. What?
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Like, where did you even find that from?
Well, they probably got it from some type of tips. Then they have it here at 328. they had, somebody had
some
to tip
type
it
of
in.
tips.
Yeah, somebody had to sent in their
Somebody
ring.
was just like, but when did they,
You're right. No, I understand what you're
when
saying.
did they get it? When did they get that? Where somebody was just like, oh, I was looking at my, my camera before you ever.
I'm sure once this happened, they probably canvassed a lot of this area and asked for those things. But my question is, why is he coming from here?
Because he was drug dealing. Because he was picking up drugs, dropping drugs. What do you do when you drive around drugs? What do? You don't stand in one place. You're moving all over. Hey, this person hits me up. I need to go over here and give them this and then that.
He goes directly from here.
This driving around, if let's say like nobody dies, nothing happens, and we're following this car around. You want to know what I would tell you? I'd be like, first of all, who is this drug dealer? Mm-hmm. Who is this drug dealer right now?
Right. I'm not sure who that is.
But I'm just like, you're driving around like a drug dealer, like dropping off shit.
That or he was picking up someone.
Yeah, you could pick up people. Yeah, you could pick up people to go get high together.
Well, here's the thing, though. Watch.
We're going halvesies on an eighth.
Here's why I believe he was picked up. Somebody and then dropped them off. Because he comes from this direction, does everything I would have expected.
Dylan from the house when he got there at 329, and they went to go score some shit. Then he had to drop her back around back because she doesn't want the roommates to know that she's over here doing shit. So she goes in the back door, like I'm saying, if there's no death, nobody dies here. What are we looking at? We're following somebody around that's doing what? Making loops around damn campus. Well, guess who did that on my campus in Cincinnati? The drug dealers.
Right.
The people that were trying to get laid.
No, I understand that. But this guy had in his intention, in my opinion, to commit this crime. He goes from here to there. He leaves at 4:20, yet he's pinged out here at 4:48. That's 28 minutes.
He was within 30 minutes within a 10-minute drive. So where did he go?
For that extra time, did he come back this direction and drop somebody else back off? Now, he could have easily have come this direction out here, crossed right in front of the police department and headed back this direction, and then maybe perhaps left some other direction, because why isn't he on these cameras?
Well, he damn well could be. I mean, I can tell you when he's not at the house. He's physically not at the house, that vehicle. Otherwise, you're going to have problems in court if you don't say this. 3:39 a.m. until 3:52 a.m. You're not going to want to say that vehicle was there because they had that 3:45 footage over there at the gas station, and that's a 5-minute drive both ways. So I gave it 6 on each end, So what I did when I did this is that you got it looping around, and you said it makes 3 loops, and then the 4th loop is when it comes at that 4:04, leaves at 4:20. But in between the 3:29 to the 4:04 or 4:02, whenever it comes back that second or that 4th time, it passes by 3 times. But you don't want to, if you're the prosecution, you don't want to make it seem like there's all these white Elantras driving around, because then you're screwed. Right. So you're going to have to account for that car that was seen on Marathon or the mobile gas station, the Exxon, you want to account for that in your timeline if you're putting, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, otherwise you're putting reasonable doubt that, okay, so we have this car over here at 3:45 that looks exactly like the car you're talking about.
Right.
And that's not the one though. Like you want to, so that takes it away from being at the house during a certain amount of time. And it takes 5 minutes to get to that point, and it would take 5 minutes to return to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to account that if it's on that camera at 3:45, that means it's not at King Street around 3:40, 5 minutes before it and 5 minutes after, because that's how long it at least takes to drive it.
Right. Right. No, I get what you're saying.
But like, let's see that camera. And if that camera shows on 1122 King that a white Elantra is there during that 3:40 to 3:50 time frame, it's going to be a big cluster, because now you have two white Elantras.
Right. Possibly three if they try to bring up.
Boom! I just blew up the case right there.
Right.
So you either have to, I'm telling you, if you're the prosecution, you're praying that vehicle, when it's over there at that gas station, is not at that house at that time. That's going to be problematic if it is for the prosecution.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's this case is going to be, it's not as cut and dry as I would like it to be.
Yeah, because it's also right now it's circumstantial. And then when I read that the apartment, and then you want to throw out, please do not consider the DNA. And I'm thinking, that's like your nuts and bolts right now. But you don't want to consider that because you're nervous that it could possibly be inadmissible. That tells me everything I need to know. I mean, come on. Like, she's basically Dawn saying, like, okay, well, no, but actually it is fact. Like, Lily, you say none of this is fact. I'm giving you fact. We have that white Elantra is on camera at 3:45 at that gas station. And whether it's the white Elantra that they're putting suspect vehicle 1 on, you actually want it to be, because otherwise you're putting two make and model very similar vehicles within 5 minutes of the crime scene during the time of the murders. So you want that. You want it to be, I'm just praying that vehicle that's seen on the 1122 camera between 3:29 and 4:02, I have a feeling that the reason they're using that gap versus saying it's seen on camera at this time and then it leaves, it's seen on camera at this time, why aren't they telling us that? Why are they saying it's seen passing by 3 times between 3:29 and 4:02? That tells me everything I need to know. That means if you were to lay out those time frames, we have problems, because then we have the 3:45 time frame of where the vehicle is seen, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, because there's I don't think this guy is as stupid as everybody tries to say. I think he made a mistake by leaving his DNA on the sheath. And
I just want them all. I don't think that I don't think that they got to Bryan Kohberger's name. I think that if he's guilty, I want whatever the family wants.
Right.
I'm never going to tell somebody that I'm pro or against like the death penalty. Like that's not my place. There's certain things, nothing's going to bring back your kid, but what I would want is I would want to be able to help so this would not happen ever again.
Right. Exactly.
And that's to me more important than anything else. So I think what the Goncalveses were all about is, no, you're not going to brush this under the rug. You're not going to just say whatever you want. And you think that by giving me somebody and that somebody's held responsible for murder, like, no, I want the right person. I want the right people. I want everybody involved, but I also want to know like how this happened. And, when you say things like this is an isolated targeted attack and you say it right off the rip, how are you saying that? Right. When have you ever seen a crime scene like this that you could say that? This is an unheard of crime scene that you would ever say that. Who's ever walked into 4 people being stabbed in a college town?
Yeah.
the middle of the night. No forced
came-
entry.
They
But
came
two
out with that
surviving
pretty,
roommates.
right. They came out with it pretty quick that this was a targeted event. Was that was the same day, right?
Yeah, they've been saying it since day one. And they haven't gone off of it. And I just feel for the community because
Mhm.
when I went to school, like, can you imagine a 19-year-old girl like trying to walk home after after it gets dark, or staying home and their friends go, no, I have to go. I'm not staying here alone. I'm not staying here alone. Like, that would be horrible. And then you even just have the people that live in the town, and like that's their town, that stuff doesn't happen here, and yada yada yada. And it's like, well, maybe stuff happens there and you don't realize it because they make it seem like something that, it's not. Like, when you're not doing anybody any services when you take a situation. Yeah, you might be doing your pockets a service, like your money as service, but you're not doing anybody a service as far as physical safety, emotional safety. You're just going to be a wreck. And that town suffered way more. There's way more victims than anybody can think of when you
Oh,
really
yeah.
think about it.
So Holly Nudie says, "Do you think there's holes, leaving holes for a reason, not telling people what they know until the trial?" The only thing that I can think of is they're trying to mislead and maybe perhaps misinform and keep information close so that they can try to keep a trial close. That way, they don't. What do you call it?
I think they're going to get their asses handed to them if this is what they have. I'll say it. I have no problem saying it. I think that they're going to get their asses handed to them. And I think that it shows that Ann Taylor went ahead and filed and wants to up everything. So there's a new court date in April.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, April 26th. And they're going to try to, she's going for a reduced bail. And they're going to try to push up that preliminary hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, like, I'm not pro like anybody. I'm pro the truth. I'm pro.
Right.
You guys, that car being where it's at 2:44 in the morning, you cannot just plop a car down. You have all those cameras. Where did that car come from at 2:44 in the morning over on WSU's campus? Where did it come from? You cannot just say, "Oh, here's a car. We see it. It's 2:44." Okay, then back up the camera and go find where it came from.
Right.
Come on, this is college campuses have cameras all over. All over. Like, that's the number one thing on a college campus, because otherwise you're not going to have kids going to your school. Safety, 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 safety.
Mm-hmm.
And and so, like, when Kim says, like, hey, there were phone calls that happened earlier. Can I believe it? Absolutely, because that's what kids do. Kids are scared. Kids are not a 30 and 40-year-old adult that says, hey, you got to do this. You're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble because I have, drugs in my room. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That means that you're scared and you don't want to get in trouble. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you wrong. I mean,
that's kind of what I say. You look at the body cam footage of how these students acted when there was a loud noise complaint and it was just alcohol. Nobody wanted to open the door. Everybody was scared of the police.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to get in trouble. I get it. These are inexperienced people. They're 20, 21 years old. They're going to not make the best decisions sometimes. I mean, shoot. When I was that age, I made a lot of dumb decisions. And so, and that doesn't mean that they can't be a victim of something. Like, like for instance, Dylan and her waiting to call. Is it possible because she had something in the house? Possibly. Maybe that's why. Is it possible that it was a large amount? I don't know. But if it was a small amount of drugs, is it possible she was afraid of that? Yeah.
I think for me, it's more about, like, people need to take into account the nature of how they live. They have a lot of jokesters. You have a sororities, you have fraternities. So, like, when I was in college, I was an athlete. So, like, the baseball team, the soccer team, my girls' basketball team, we all played jokes on each other. So the one year, the guys would always go hunting, and they would, when they killed a deer, they would literally put deer nuts on our doors, literally hang them, and we would walk out, and like, if you don't pay attention, you're going to get hit with deer nuts in your face. Okay.
Right.
Well, so then we were like, fuck this. We're going to go to the baseball field, and we're going to like put tampons all over the new baseball field and put pig blood all over the tarp, and they're going to have to they're going to have to pay for all of this. Right.
Right.
So you're doing like pranks on each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would consider that a prank. You know, we're pranking them back. Right. Well, if you watch all these TikToks and you watch all their videos, they like to like joke around and they prank. Right.
Right.
So think about this. If I came in, or like maybe even like a couple of us came in and we acted like we were like, you know, scaring you or whatever, but really like there was like a heinous act that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you would actually see this go down, if you were Dylan, or if you were one of the victims, you know, at first when people say like, why aren't you screaming and why aren't you yelling and why aren't you acting a certain way? It's because if they were used to doing this to each other and acting that type of way, that they would be like, oh my God, stop it. Okay, haha, so funny. And the next thing you know, this person's like literally attacking you and stabbing you.
Right.
Okay, like, but at first you're not screaming because you're like, oh, Dave, stop it. Bob's okay, so funny, haha. And then like, you know, so that happens, right? But the next thing you know, so you're not screaming like, oh my God, you know, because you're used to them playing jokes on each other.
No, I mean, I get that.
That's the only thing I can think of as to how you possibly go into Ethan and Xana's room if they're both awake. And that it wouldn't be like somebody trying to reach for their cell phone and call 911, or somebody screaming and saying, Dylan, Bethany, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you know, like you're saying.
Right. Why not alert? Why not, you know,
yeah,
alert
you're
for
just
somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but if I think you're joking around, and if you have a mask on and you're playing around, like that's what all of their go look at their stuff. That's what it all is. It's them like, you know what I mean? Like the guy standing over going like this, and then they're putting on these helmets and doing that. So it's like, do you think it's, who would ever say that they're going to pop out of their bed or be in a house, and if no one screamed and you just heard something, so you really, okay, did this really happen? Did it not really happen? Dude, I'm hammered. I don't really, okay. But yeah, I heard somebody cry, but then someone said, it's okay, I got you. Like, they're going to have a hell of a day trying to explain that in court.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about just a situation and what these kids were in, their situation, their everyday life, and if they're joking around, and they're used to people playing jokes that then hear, but who would know that? Who would know that? Would that be somebody that's in their inner circle that would know that like, hey, they're not going to think this is real. They're going to think that we're playing around. So,
I mean, I get what you're saying. I just.
But does that make sense in terms of like why somebody's not like, you know, if I think that you're just joking, the next thing I know, Daniel, like you have a mask on, I'm like, okay, you dick, like.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
And then you come at me full force.
Right, but there's two people there. One person would have seen the second or the first person getting assaulted, and they would have had the opportunity to scream or alert or fight back.
Absolutely.
Things of that nature.
Or like when the DoorDash came down, if you killed somebody when that happened, then when that person came back, you know what I mean? Then I'd be like 1v1. It just depends on, like, I would have to see the crime scene to like, I think if I saw the crime scene, I would be able to, obviously I think anybody would know a lot more.
Right. It's tough, man. The story that she says is tough. It really is, because of the fact that it appears that there's two people awake during the commission of this crime, and even the audio from the house that they claim is 50 feet, but I don't think it is.
Yeah,
it's not far. It's like 100 feet.
I thought it was the little one up. That's up.
Oh, you know what? It's that little one. Yeah, you're right. Hold on. It's still pretty far away. It's over here. It's about 70 feet.
So wait,
that's
that
not too
was.
far.
So wait, that's one because I thought that it was.
So that's 71 feet. If it was the Ring camera that was facing this direction, and I think it had to. The other thing is, unless they have one in the back, because they see him doing a turn and a 3-point turn and all that other stuff. So maybe perhaps there's another one back here. That's 50 feet, almost exactly.
Wait a second.
And so,
Wait, that can't be right because there's like a street right there. Can you zoom in on that?
yeah, this is their house.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that one to this one. Yeah, yeah,
If there was a camera out here,
yeah. That's what they were trying to say, like right out there, and that it was like 50. Like,
because that's 50 feet from here. Like if the camera was on the corner there,
yeah,
so
right there.
here is 50 feet.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. And see, that's the one that's going to have everything that we need to see for the morning. Then you're going to have everything that Kim says is going to be either authenticated, through that. And I think that it's going to play, like I'm telling you, Ann Taylor put in a motion, and I think that they have something, and she's fighting for that reduced bail, and she's fighting. She wants to speed it up. So, I already have my Airbnb and all my stuff set with the different producers I'm working with. So we may be having to change some dates, but we'll be there. I'll be there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me see.
And all I know is I just want to give a shout out to, again, to my mods and all the, the members and the subscribers here, as well as over on my channel. Again, adore the shit out of you guys. Thank you guys for being here and supporting.
For sure. All right. Bryan Kohberger requests timely hearing on Jan 12th.
Yeah, so it was all.
All right, yeah. And so, do you think it was just one person?
Honestly, they say that this was a premeditated, targeted, isolated attack. And I just want to know why they're saying that. Is it the house? Is it a person? Is it everybody? Was it the house? Just, where do you say that, so early that you're saying that, like on day one? What was what was in that house that made you say that? Like, was there? What was it? There had to be something there for you to. They said in the early investigative stages, this was an isolated, targeted attack, and that tells me that something was there. Something is telling you that. 4 people being dead by a knife. That doesn't tell that to me. There'd have to be more than that.
Right.
And so so when I want to talk about like more than one person, I think that's hard to say.
And a lot of people
do I put it out of the equation? Absolutely not. No, I think that it's definitely possible. I think that it just matters on like if we're talking about
a lot of folks are asking me to call Kim, and I messaged her. I messaged her if she minds getting a call. I know folks were saying she was in the live chat. I'm not entirely certain if that's true, because I messaged her about an hour ago asking if I can call her. And so I just want to put that out there because I see a lot of people say call Kim. I'm not sure if the right Kim was in the live chat. I'll tell you what, the Kim I saw in the live chat, her last name is not the same.
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm not entirely sure. See, here's my thing about it. You have Kim's statement saying that there was multiple people out there. You have missing time and him coming from a neighborhood west of this neighborhood before he directly goes to this house. And then he does what I would anticipate, what I would expect him to do, which is circle the neighborhood until he builds the confidence to do what he has to do or what he wants to do. And so Then when he leaves, there's another 10 to 15-minute time gap where it's not sure where he's at. Then you have the fact that so Kim has her son who's in pre-law, and he has a friend that they've been friends with as a family for a long time, and she took Brian's class, and apparently they stated that Brian didn't have any visible markings or anything that would have indicated that he was in an assault. He goes and has a doctor's appointment. He maintains that doctor's appointment,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was for a physical. I think that this case boils down to a couple of things. Like, for instance, there was, and you and I talked about this, there was a hit and run outside his residence.
Yes, yes.
Now, him going out after that hit and run, there's cops in the area. There's a chance that his vehicle could be taped. And him coming to this house, seeing more vehicles than possibly normal because you had Ethan there. I think this is an opportunity situation as far as why it happened that night. I think he anticipated. So if he would have done it the following Friday, I think they were getting out for Thanksgiving, right? And so in my mind, what I'm thinking he's doing is he's trying to do what you normally wouldn't see a criminal do, which is live their normal life.
Mhm.
So he had to do it this weekend so that way he can attend class that Monday, so he would appear as if nothing changed.
And they also didn't have school on that Friday because it was Veterans Day.
That's right.
Neither one of those schools had school because it was Veterans Day.
The following Friday or that?
No,
Friday?
that Friday. Like they didn't have classes that Friday.
Gotcha. And so that following Friday, though, yeah, we can hear you, bro. That following weekend, had he waited till then he would not have gone to class because they would have been out for Thanksgiving break. So he had to do it that night so that way he can report to class. He had the physical already, had that appointment already made. So that tells me that he made all those risks because of the opportunity. If he was stalking him, then there's a possibility that he knew that Kaylee wasn't going to be there much longer. And so it boils down to opportunity as to why he did it this night. And maybe because somebody was waiting on him as well to do it. And so I'm thinking maybe he was there.
So then I have a question with that. So like you would know their patterns and that they stay up late. So why would you get there at 3:30 on a Saturday night knowing that people aren't going to be asleep yet? Why would you keep circling? Why would you, have your car be on so many cameras? If that was the case, you would, at 4.
So many
Hey,
cameras.
Blue,
You
there's
would come
a
at like 4 or
echo.
4:30. I just think that you would know that.
Right.
So
Sorry
like
about
I just
that.
think that if you've been stalking them, if you've been paying attention to their daily like movements in terms of when they go to sleep and that there's always people there, and when you take that into account, when you think that there would be like a good time to like possibly do this, I just think there's so many X variables with this house. So when people say that this house was easy target, I disagree. I think that this house gave so many variables. Like you don't know who's going to spend the night. You don't know who's going to be there. You don't know if a boyfriend's going to be spending the night. There's just so many variables to this house. So I disagree when someone's going to say that. I just disagree. There's this house is not that patterned. This house goes out during the week. It goes out on the weekends. This
Right.
house has people over, to spend the night. This house, some people will, leave for the weekend. So it's just to say when there would be a good time or not a good time.
Right. Yeah.
There's just too many X variables with this type of a house. Unless you were on the inside. Like I said, unless you were on the inside, unless you had an inside path to somebody like letting you know something, but you wouldn't know that I don't care even how much you follow social media. Social medias can misdirect you. People post things after they do something, not like while they're doing it. So can misdirect you.
Hold on, Blue. We can hear ourselves talking on your side.
Blue's like, I'm just over here just watching.
Right. What's that, Blue? It sounds like you have it on your phone up and going.
I just want to make sure y'all can hear me, man. I keep getting kicked out.
I keep kicking you out because I can hear an echo. Like when Lena's talking, I don't know if it's plugged in. Maybe it is because I heard that. But just mute yourself. Yeah, we can hear you. Mute yourself until you're ready to talk, because we can. When Lena's talking, we can hear her for some reason.
Say, one thing, Elaine.
I love him.
Yeah, we can still hear us.
Thank you for Choosing Conspiracy for coming out tonight.
Aw.
Mike is, I don't know, messed up tonight. I can't hear her.
Understood, man. Understood. We'll have you in the background. That way you can listen in. And if you need anything, just text in the private chat and I'll ask it. So just mute yourself for now. So, no, I completely understand what you're saying. I feel that I think they know more than what they're saying, just solely because.
100%.
Just because of the fact that I think somebody gave him his name too. I think somebody dimed him out, or they got his name from somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And I think that when that happens, or like I said, like if it was like, like I said, you can also follow back this white Elantra, sure. But it would take you a long time to do that. And you're picking up at locations that aren't this person's residence. So that doesn't make any sense. They can say all they want that, oh, it didn't have a front license plate. No, it's blurry. But more importantly, it doesn't matter so much that when they found it on WSU's campus, it did have 2 license plates. It had the front and the back. That's why it was so important. The way they worded the PCA was that the one person looked it up and saw that it was PA plates. The other person that found it 30 minutes later talked about the 2 different plates. And that to me is just like, wow, 2 people would do that at the same damn time. Come on now. Like that's not gonna fly with me. Right. And if that's the case, then why isn't WSU calling the police that called to them to say, hey, will you help us? You wouldn't go through some tip line that doesn't even exist. The FBI didn't have a tip line at that time for this white Elantra. They were not taking. The FBI took over the tip line on December 8th, not on November 29th, not on December 1st or November 30th. I would never, Daniel, if you called me and said, hey, look through your stuff, and I look through my stuff, I would not go through your tip line. I would call you up and I would say, hey, I came across something. Let me send it to your personal email.
Right.
That's what we would do. I'm not going to go through your tip line to send in a police to police, law enforcement to law enforcement message. That's not going to happen. And if it does, then that should change. Period.
Right. Let's see.
Right? You would do the same thing for me. Like, you would call me if you called me for help. I'd call you and give you what I had. I wouldn't put it through your tip line.
All right, good, cool. So Kim said that she's available for a call.
Okay, yeah.
Let me get that all set up real quick.
All right.
Get this going. Now,
you're not going to play chess with your own team, with law enforcement. You're not going to play chess, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they play chess, absolutely, but you don't play chess within your own.
I'm going to send her the StreamYard.
Oh, yeah, do that.
Because with the calls, they could only hear me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they can't hear, like, for instance, you or Blue or anybody else talking. So let me do that real quick. Give me 1 second. But yeah, no, she's here. She's ready to come on.
Oh, awesome.
All right, let me get the StreamYard sent over to her. All right. I gotta put it on. I have two different phones.
Like Kevin Gates.
Yeah. Oh, Blue, I still hear an echo. Why don't you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can also
Y'all
hear
hear
me.
me?
Oh, Blue, I still hear an echo. Why don't you? Yeah, Blue, we hear you, but we can hear us.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Look at the private chat,
Thumbs
bro.
up if you can hear me.
Look at the private chat. Private chat. All right.
Lana,
Yeah, we can hear you, Blue.
can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Hi, Blue.
Can you hear me? Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Hi, Blue.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Oh, you're welcome.
I can hear you. Hi, Blue. Hi.
Blue, I'm gonna have to mute you, bro.
I'm buzzing a tad bit. I drink. This is damn. I
I'm
lost the
enjoying
bottle.
it.
All right, but I'm gonna have to remove you because your echo's pretty bad, bro. All right, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. So I just sent Kim the link over. Hopefully she'll be able to jump on. I told her she doesn't have to show her face or anything. Hopefully they show. Oh, she's already in.
Oh.
Instructions.
There. Welcome, Kim. How's it going? Nice to talk
Well,
to you
I'm going to
again.
stay off camera though, just
Oh,
just
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I understand.
Right.
Hi,
Thank
Kim.
you guys for coming. Hi, how are you? I really appreciate you. I have to
Oh,
tell you,
thank
you're
you.
very bright and insightful, and I think that well, both of you, right, Digging and Olivia too, is what's going to get this solved because. And I could be wrong, and I want to start out that way. I'm going to say that I'm not attacking anybody, and I don't want any student or family to think that I think their kid did something wrong or they did something wrong. I think you're kids, and missteps occur, and it's your life, and we've just had this really unfortunate event. And if I don't say something as a human being, as a person on this planet, and a mother, and God forbid it happens again, I just, it's not acceptable. We all have to say something. And I'm not the only one who knows something. And so if I'm wrong, I am happy to be wrong. I want to be wrong, actually. I don't want this to be as horrific as I feel like it is. So that's where I'm coming from. And it's not just about my kids. It's about all of these kids.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I think
For
that
sure.
I think that it's if you know something, you should say it, and I think that you should encourage the people, like whatever would make it be like hearsay for you, to be like, hey, just tell them what you know, type of thing.
Right.
Lead by example. So I think that that's great.
I think that's the only way we can do it with raising children and I'm happy to take that heat off of the girls in her sorority house. And I did call the FBI on the 13th. It might have been the 14th because it might have been late at night when we got home. So it could have been the 13th or the 14th, but it was right when I got home and got into range. We don't have very good range. Really, honestly, you only have about 2 hours of good range between Pullman and Seattle. So
What service do you use?
Verizon.
Verizon. Okay.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of question marks about
Brian
a lot
had
of people have been
AT&T.
saying, yeah, Brian had AT&T. I think AT&T is the service around there that is the most strongest.
Yeah, and I know that the school does provide. So everybody but the kids in Greek or Greek live-outs at Wazoo, they have Wi-Fi provided to them. So he actually doesn't even own his own Wi-Fi, so the police could get access to it, I believe. I think.
Right.
Brian was on the university's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Right. So that's not really his. He doesn't own
Correct.
that. Right? That's
Correct. They could.
that-
That's why actually they didn't make any there.
Right.
There was no talk about the router because he didn't have one.
Yes, they don't have a router. In fact, my son's room had he lived in a single, and he had the whole system was in his room. He's like, oh, score.
Yeah.
I have perfect Wi-Fi, right? So it's very rough around there. It's it's agricultural land. There's they're great schools and campuses. The teachers are, I mean, I have no complaints about anything other than the fact that nobody looks at Greek row hard enough to control it, and it's out of control, and kids are getting hurt, and they're exposed. I don't think these girls invited this at all. I think it
No, I don't think
happened to them. I think they were naive and trusting, and I think they're really kind. I think they're my daughter. She's super kind, right? She'll stop and she'll pick you up if you've fallen down or whatever. I mean, that's how these kids are on the campuses. They trust. And
I also think that like when you have a house like that they had and they had a bunch of friends, that's not a secret. They had a bunch of friends.
right, sure.
You don't realize that like what your friends could possibly be doing at your house. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
if you have no idea what your friends could be possibly doing. Like,
Right.
you know, if you actually watch some of the body cams that I put out, were some of the girls when they were walking out, they were asked like, whose house is this? And they're like, now either they were like lying because they didn't want to say whose house it was, or they legit on September 1st, if you think about it, they would have just been in school for a couple weeks. Well, we actually don't know whose house it is. You know what I mean?
That's
we were just
right.
told to, you know, come here, like we're having like a pregame or whatever.
Right.
And when you think about that, that actually is like, think about when you were in college. I mean, I know when I was in college, I didn't know whose house I was going to. I could tell you, I'm going to the baseball party. I'm going to a baseball party, or I'm going to the soccer house. But to say like,
and I'm definitely not answering the door if the police are there, because I'm not getting an MIP, and they know this. These kids, right? And so I think it's normal behavior, and that's the stuff that those friendships are built on, right? There's my daughter's her house, and I can't say the name of it, but it's a name I would rather it not be called. But it's, you know what? She wanted to live there. She loves it there.
First of all, can I say hi, Kim?
Hi. Oh, I love you. You are just like a giant bear. And the drunker you get, the sweeter you get. So keep on going, my friend.
Hey, I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
Buddy. Take 2 aspirin, right?
Yeah.
My
cute.
girlfriend says, you know, I'm a big bear.
Yeah.
I'm a big bear.
You know what? There's a lot of great in being a big bear. I'll tell you that. That's
But,
where
you know,
it from.
I cannot drink it. Most people in this fucking world, and I love you.
I love you too, and I'm
he
gonna
thinks
let you
he
not
can.
drink me.
Oh my God, Blue.
I know I
yeah.
can.
So sweet.
Look at that.
I know you can.
For God, look,
let me see that passion fruit.
the vodka's gone. I drink a whole bottle of vodka for you. Hope y'all enjoyed me.
Yeah.
So sweet. So
make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for our boy Blue.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my, really very sweet, very funny. And you know, this is such a hard time, and my daughter, and I will be honest with you, my daughter is less than pleased with me, and I don't care. I mean, we'll get over it, or she will, or whatever, but they're not afraid because there's a guy in jail. And what if it's not? And I'm not, before I get the hate, I'm not saying it's not, I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying, what if they got the wrong guy?
Right.
We don't know.
Or what if they don't have everybody? You know?
And that's my thing too. This was, so what I'm allowed to share, maybe I'm not, and I really at this point don't care. Throw my ass in jail. What are they going to do, right? I'm a mom.
Hey, exercise your First Amendment. Go ahead.
Right.
You're not gagged.
There are two crimes that were committed on the same night, and I think it's just by chance. I think I don't necessarily know that Kaylee was the target. I actually think she wasn't the target. I think she was disliked passionately by somebody, and that's why he took it out on her. But I think maybe the intended was a different person. But there's a fraternity house there, and I'm going to say it, guys, because I've said it to you on social media, so I'm going to just say it out loud. If you're a Sigma Chi and you go to U of I, collectively get your friends together, protect yourselves, and go and tell them what happened. That's what I'm telling you.
One thing.
Yeah.
This is the real Kim. You can't make up her voice. She has that voice. You can't make it up. This is her, guys.
I know my cousins have all called me from New York.
This is the real her. It ain't no fakes. It ain't no Collins. This is her, guys.
You know what? And I want to be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize to everybody. I don't want Dylan to be hurt. I think they were at all. I mean, a misstep is a misstep. If she just didn't know, if she saw it, so I think they were going to be roughed up. I think when, okay, what I think, my belief is that and it could be just my mom instinct, but I have 7 kids. They're all pretty good, so I think I have instinct there. And I think that they were done. That Kaylee didn't want to do this. Maddie didn't want to do this. Xana wanted nothing to do with this. I think that there was a neighbor who likely is the one who called 911, who was doing it the year before when his girlfriend lived in the house and selling out of that house. And I believe the house was the target and the girls didn't want any part of it. It was the first semester, if you think about it, that they were all living collectively together. So I think that they were sucked into something they didn't know was in front of them by somebody who they trusted. They trusted people. Nobody ever hurt them before. It's like my kids. My kids don't know what it's like. A lot of these kids.
Kim, I just want to say, in real life, you don't know who to trust, babe. You don't know who to trust. Everybody was stabbing in the back.
So wait, can I ask you a
I
question?
hate that though. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, because I did some deep digging into the people that had been living there the year before, because people
Oh,
were really
good.
confused about whose actually house it was and like how that all came about.
Mhm.
Maddie lived with a group of girls from the Pi Phi.
High fives. Correct.
Yeah. So Maddie actually lived there her junior year with
Correct.
a group of people.
Correct.
And then over the summer, when Maddie went, she went and actually lived with her boyfriend in Boise for the summer.
Right.
And she sublet, quote unquote, her room, as well as one of the other girls sublet her room to Dylan. And these girls started moving in like during the summer. And you know how like you can, instead of me coming and taking over and being put on the lease, I just pay you. I give you your deposit, you know, and then when I move out, I'll get the deposit. You know what I mean? You'll give it back to me, like versus like us putting down names. It's just like a quicker thing. And then like, let's say that
You're
scared.
exactly right.
Yeah. Let's
And
say
it's a really bad policy, but they do it. And I'm a real estate broker. They do it. It's a really bad plan.
But
and
also,
they
let's
just
say
roll
that
it
I'm
over.
nervous. Let's say that I'm nervous. Like, oh my God, I have a past. Like maybe they won't accept me because I have a felony. And I'm not saying that anybody does, but like,
yeah,
think
right.
about
I
that.
hear you. Sure. I never
Think
even
about
thought
that.
of. Gosh,
You know?
I never even considered that actually, because you know they're young, right?
Yeah, like
And-
who maybe they have something and they're just like, oh my God, like
They're all young.
I don't want
They're
them to
young.
run a background check on me.
Right.
because-
And right. And the thing is, and somebody's gonna, it's like a pyramid scheme kind of, because eventually that landlord's gonna sell that property and somebody's gonna have to pay the damage deposit, and it's gonna be way more than $400 somebody paid in 1976.
And I just want to let you know, this is the real Kim. I know voices.
I love you, Blue.
For y'all guys think
You know
it's
what?
nothing. This is real.
I don't even pay attention to the trolls anymore. New word for 2023. Troll.
So-
I did it last night.
There's a lot of people asking who's Kim and whatnot. So Kim is the person that we spoke to a week ago maybe now, where she came on the phone, stated that she had 2 kids who were attending WSU, and had some possible information based on the what her kids may know. And as far as vetting her, what I did was she had given me names of certain people that were involved. And one of them was a athlete at the University of Idaho. Chronicles of Olivia came out, said it was a football player. I will say that is accurate. It was a football player.
Yeah, you didn't say that. You didn't tell us where he was in, but she did, and that's okay too. You know, I mean,
right. I didn't want to say the sport, but she put it out there already. So it is what it is. So it was a football
I already
player.
made a call to the AD anyway to
Hey,
have
Kim.
him talk
Kim.
to.
Right.
Yes, love.
I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. You know,
Anytime, buddy.
Tonight,
Anytime.
the show where I got to drink and I got to enjoy myself, and you know, everybody out there, there's 3,000 of y'all out there. You know,
It's a lot. I think it's viral.
This is me on a free day, no work. I'm taking a shot for y'all. Look, cheers, my friends. Cheers.
Oh my God.
There's no cup, no bottle. This bottle, you know. Cheers, cheers, my friends. Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Lana, thank you very much for being on the show. My friend,
You're welcome. I will do it anytime. I don't know if I never have more information than I have right now.
I want to see somebody outdrink me.
Dude, I think it's already happened tonight, bro.
I think that you would win. I think you could go to camp. I think you could go to one of the fraternity houses and you would win that bet.
Salud, my friends. Salud.
Salute, right?
Salute.
Oh yes,
You could be on my beer Olympic team any day.
Yeah. And so
Which is, I
drank
need
a
to
bottle.
know before I hang up with you. What are your sports, lady?
I played golf and basketball.
Golf and basketball. Oh, you are a
Oh,
rock
no,
star.
golf.
I knew you were a baller. I have all ballers, but I
I'm a baller.
didn't pick golf.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I bet you played good. What position in basketball?
I was a point guard.
A true point guard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I could
you're
shoot
a
the
rock
rock
star.
though.
You
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the only
right.
reason I got a scholarship.
Good for
You know,
Yeah.
my girlfriend's daughter's a guard, and I've been giving her pointers, and
right?
you know, that's all I can do. That's all
I
Ball
married a
handling and
6'5" man, and I'm 5'4" nothing. And unfortunately, he
Salud,
takes
my
after
friend.
his mother, so he honed his 3-pointer, and he's a
Yep.
killer. So,
Yep.
but he's not the tallest tree out there, but he shoots, he runs,
Yeah.
he runs hard, right? Good for you.
Shoot the rock from like 5, just you want to be able to shoot the rock from about 2 to 3 good steps off the 3-point
Yeah,
line.
right.
You want to have that range, spread the
Right.
defense out,
I
and then
can drop bombs from the 3-point line.
I will tell you,
guards
my
too.
right.
Spread that
bombs.
Look at him,
defense.
yes, right. And he's thrown a few from mid court that have hit it for a buzzer beater, which is
I
like
can
the
hit
best
them
thing on
for
the planet.
bombs. I can hit them.
You can hit them. I
I
just
can hit 'em.
rebound.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a gymnast. I rebound. I just run after
Yeah.
them.
so
No, I pass. I hit the 3-point bomb every time.
The detective's going to rein us back in because we're getting off topic.
Oh God.
I
so
want to say thank you for everybody coming on the show.
Anytime, my friend.
And
Thank you
and
for
you know
paying
what?
attention.
That bottle of vodka didn't do shit to me.
I think it did, Blue. I think
I
it
think
did.
you'll say differently tomorrow
I
morning.
can hit a bar tonight. I can hit a bar tonight. It's burning 9:30 in the fucking PM, bro.
Oh,
I
you're
can't-
in our time zone.
Yeah.
No, I'm in my time zone.
Oh, I'm in your time. I am in your time zone. I am in your phone call. So yes,
We're in
I
big
am.
blue zone right now.
I'll take
It's
that.
too early. It's too early, sweetie. I can go have another 20 more drinks. Anybody want to come out with me?
Oh,
You know,
Blue.
no.
I'm
I
good
need
for
No,
to-
Blue. Stay
2
home,
more
Blue.
hours.
Stay home. Stay home, Blue.
Yeah, no
So-
driving. Where are your keys?
You know, I don't drive. I don't drive when I
Good
drink.
boy. Yes, not even
No.
one, not even a sip. That's the rule.
No.
Which,
I
can I
drink.
just say that about the kids? They called for a ride. Like, they're not out there driving and drinking and driving. So their cars
Right.
to be lined up perfectly like that. Well, that's where they park them probably on Monday.
Mhm.
Right? Because they're usually walking to class because typically I know at Wazoo they get tickets. I don't even let my kids have their car at school because it's just a nightmare. It's a pain. I had a kid who went to the UW. He's in DC now, but he went to the UW and I had $780 worth of tickets in a year. Like, you kids are
What?
not taking their parking tickets.
What? Damn,
And
I'm
you can't
sorry.
re-register your tag.
Yeah, I would have slapped my kid by one ticket, not two. One.
Well, he gets paid nothing. He's got a double major and a minor, and he gets paid nothing to work in Congress.
I
So
know.
I'm
You know
just
what,
going to get back.
Kids are gonna be kids, Kim.
Yeah, they're going to be kids. Kids are, and they're going to
Kids.
misstep. And these
They're
kids
gonna
are
be
beautiful
kids.
kids.
You know,
And we're stuck with garbage on the streets because these kids are gone.
you know what? Thank you, Kim, for coming on. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
all the information you gave us.
You're
And
welcome.
this is the real Kim, guys. This isn't the fake Kim. This is the real Kim. I know her voice. She has
The
an
world
accent.
apparently does
My
now.
ears can pinpoint that accent from 10 miles away. I just want to say thank you.
I think I need Aloysian school, like, My Fair Lady or Big Malian. I think I need to go to her instructor. What is it? The T? I keep trying to say it slowly, but I can't. So I'm working on it.
Kim, I'm out of liquor. What should I do?
Hey Kim, can I ask you a question?
You absolutely may.
Yes, ma'am.
So when your daughter, mentioned this to you and you were like, hey, what time did this all happen? And she tells you the time and then more things start happening. Were you just like, hey, hon, like, that's not what they're saying? Did you like
What
have
I
a heart to heart with her or like?
Well, so nobody was saying anything at the moment because I heard about it on the 13th, and I'm like, why did it call? So my conversation with my daughter was from the 13th until Thanksgiving when she got home for Thanksgiving break was, why didn't they call the police? Like, I just could not get my head around. Why didn't, 911. You guys we teach. They know how to. They have a whole plan for setting up
Kim,
against a shooter.
they know how to stop, drop, and roll, but 911 is something different.
Well, the thing was, I just could not get my head around it. I'm like, Pate. She goes, well, I don't know, Mom. It was just a party house, so it always happened. I'm like, Peyton, that doesn't make sense. The horrificness of this, and I don't think she knew. I don't think it registered.
Wait. Actually, that makes sense to me because she said like this always happens. So hold on one second. Let me ask you this: because did they first think somebody like overdosed or no?
No.
That was never a thing.
That is not what okay, so no, that is not what no, because when Peyton came down, I just said her name.
Let's
so when
let's
she
start
came
off from let's start off in the beginning. So
okay.
so you got the alert at 5 o'clock, right?
About 5 o'clock, my husband and I were leaving from parents' weekend there, and
Right.
our phones beeped. Each of us got families get beeped whenever there's an alert. They call it a coug alert, like a vandal alert. And so they said campus is shelter in place, campus is on lockdown. So my husband immediately calls my son, and I immediately call my daughter. And so so I was speaking with my daughter, and I said, Pate, where are you? You need to shelter in place, lock your doors, get down, go low. And she said, I already know, Mom, what happened. I'm like, what? And she said, I said, what do you know? And she said, now I'm going to try and I'll give you the verbatim conversation. So, but if I misspeak, it's just because I don't have it in front of me. But what she said to me was that she knows that her friend, who is her sorority sister, not her roommate, and she's her sorority sister. My daughter is in a sorority at Wazoo, and her sorority sister is in a different program interning, so she's not on the campus. So she doesn't have a home in Pullman, but when she's in Pullman, she'll either stay at like my daughter's house or another friend's house or the sorority house. So when she's visiting,
Wazoo sounds like a made up fucking name to me. Sorry.
Who?
It's not Blue. It's not.
I know.
So she said to me, so then, oh, you're very funny. But she said, I said, well, what happened? She said, 4 kids. I really want to be sensitive when I'm not going to tell. She said what happened to the 4 students, and that she knew about it at around 10 o'clock in the. I don't think she said that at first. She said, what happened to the kids? And I said, how do you know? And she said, well, my sorority sister. I said, when? And she said, I don't know, like around, 10 or whatever. And I said, well, you didn't say anything. She goes, I don't know. I don't think it registered, honestly, because the horrificness of it, I think, was just not something they could even comprehend in the moment. And they weren't there, and they didn't know them. They only know the person that told them. Well, which is why I felt it was trustworthy, because I do know this young woman, and she's lovely. I mean, she's a great girl. I have nothing bad to say about her. And so, it was just information she had, but she didn't have a connection to it necessarily. She didn't know what it looked like until then the alert came out, and this is still happening. And I'm like, and I said, well, Peyton, what happened? Like, she goes, I said, how do you know that happened? And she said, because there were 2 roommates that weren't hurt. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
There's over 3,000 people on the live wanting to know, as a worried mother, do you think your children are safe as a worried mother?
Well, I have a son who just transferred to ASU, and I have a daughter who had brain surgery, and she's absolutely fine. Her senior year of high school.
Are you worried?
And am I worried? Yeah, terrified. But she's also a 21-year-old woman with a good head on her shoulders, and I, at some point, have to trust God and stop fighting with her. So I mean,
Right.
yes, if I had my choice, she'd be going globally, and that makes me feel better, but that doesn't make her feel better. And so I just have to be a parent to an adult child, rather than a parent to like a kindergartner, right? That requires her being making decisions for herself in her life, and I have to accept that. I hate that. Everybody knows I hate that because I am bossy. So, but yeah, I don't love it that she's there. I'm terrified for her to be there, but Have to trust
Can
them.
I ask you a question about the police, like the way that
Sure.
they've ever handled everything? Like, have they ever had any issues with
Oh, they know me by name.
but like have they been always fair? Have there been like
Overly fair.
okay
They've been overly fair
because they're Greek?
because they're Greek and yeah. This is so. I'll finish really quickly about with what happened with the two surviving roommates. I was told,
Mhm.
Peyton, I've already said her name 12 times. They were told that the two roommates heard the noise. They saw outside the window. I don't know for sure if it was two people, or I mean, two people in and one outside, or three people in and one outside. That is still confusing to me. I don't know that right. So,
So she saw
but
multiple people.
multiple people. She recognized the creep, and that is what. So I do believe that the suspect they have in custody, I believe from the information I've received that he is indeed guilty. I don't know that they have the evidence to keep him behind bars, but I do believe that he is the one because he was recognized and named. And the police have said we knew who he was immediately. They've said
Right.
it live. So that
So
backs up what these kids said. And so they locked
Okay,
themselves in.
can I ask you
Sure.
how do you think that they knew when they say like because I agree that his name got coughed up, but
Because I was told that. Because my daughter was told that. That's what. And they
because
Snapchat.
it was like, oh hey, this was who was here partying that night, or
It was the exact verbiage I got was, and there was a guy, he was a creeper. He was there with the other guys. Other guys is all I got with the numbers because I did ask about like how many other guys and where did you see them from? The downstairs window, where Bethany's room is, and they locked themselves in. And then I said, "And did they call 911?" No, they just locked the door and went to sleep. And I'm like, "Excuse me? You know there's a creeper in the house. You're hearing all this noise." I mean, literally, the conversation I've had with my daughter since then is, "Why didn't she call 911?" To call 911, right?
well,
Except for
because every part of every story has a little bit of truth in it. So
sure,
hear me out on this. Like, what if it
okay,
was like me, you, and Daniel, okay?
huh?
And I hit you
Sure.
up, Kim, and I'm like, hey, I just scored us, let's just say for like just
Mhm.
easy talk. Hey, I just got us an eighth. Like, I'm
Mhm.
gonna come pick you up. We're gonna go over to Daniel's.
Mhm.
Are you cool if we're gonna go hang out and get blasted? And you're like,
Okay.
yeah, pick me up, pick me up. So
Mhm.
I come over to your house, I pick you up.
Sure.
We're hanging out there for a little bit, and then me and you, we then go to Daniel's. Okay.
Mhm.
So then we get over to Daniel's, and Daniel lives with multiple people, but
Mhm.
like they're not getting in on our shit. Like, I know Daniel, you know Daniel, we know each other, but yeah, like we know who these other people are, but like
Right.
we're just gonna hang out. So like we're outside, me, you, Daniel,
Mhm.
we're outside, let's say, by the couch or whatever, just hanging out.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we get there rather late, and then somebody calls me
Mhm.
and they're like, hey, I'm trying to get in on that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, come pick me up. Like, all right, so hey, I have to go pick up Mark. So I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go pick up Mark. So I leave, I go pick up Mark, right? And then I come back.
Mhm.
And so then it's me, you, Daniel, Mark, and because it's Daniel's house, and we're all outside and just we're getting blasted, right?
Mhm.
And then you say to me, and so does Daniel, why the fuck did you bring that Mark guy here, that creeper? Like, and I'm all just like, dude, shut up. He just like threw 30 on it. Like, we basically got all this for free. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like,
Right.
just
I,
hear
I
that
think
out.
somebody
Like,
should buy you a drink because
yeah,
you just like nail on the head.
like
Right.
we're like, this is college
Right.
life. Like, how do you think
Right.
college people operate? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
Right.
like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like, he just bought all this for us. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
Like, you want to pay me for this? And then you're like, no, yeah, great point. Like, he bought
right.
it all. Great. So
Yes.
we're just all hanging outside. Okay. And then Creeper Mark. Okay. So this is Daniel's place.
Mhm.
I picked you up,
Mhm.
but Creeper Mark, who I picked up after I was like, okay, I'm going to go back out and pick him up.
Right.
All right. So my vehicle would have been once with us, right?
Mhm.
Then I leave, and then I'm coming twice back with Marky Poo. And now we're here. Okay.
Right.
And then let's say, we're out there, whatever, and you get a phone call, or
Mhm.
I do, or even Daniel gets a phone call. And it's
Mhm.
like, dude, go pick up my girl. Go pick up my girl. I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm not picking up anybody. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll just take the car and I'll go pick them up. So then you take my car and you go pick up so and so. But that's how college
That's how it
works.
happens, right?
That's
Yes.
college life, okay?
They all drive each other. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly
So
right.
okay, I'm not. You
They
can
all
take my
drive each other's
car.
cars.
You can
Yeah,
take my car.
Take my car. It's my parents' car,
Um,
actually. So take it.
Yeah, exactly. You
Right?
can take my car. So then the car
Yeah.
leaves again. The car leaves again, and now you're driving it to go pick up sweet Susie. So now we have Susie, me, you,
Yeah.
Daniel, and Mark. Okay,
Mhm.
and we're all in the backyard of Daniel's house.
Wow.
Okay, and Daniel's like, dude, I'm going to bed, man. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
Daniel goes to bed, but he knows all of us, right? So we're
Mhm.
just like chilling there. But then there's
Yeah.
this weirdo Mark, okay? And
Mhm.
Mark's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Mm.
Mark goes to the bathroom. Mark goes to the bathroom. And Mark does whatever. And we don't ever see Mark again because we're all like, we're ready to leave. Well, where's Mark? I don't know. Like nobody says bye to each other in college.
No, they
like,
roll out,
if
right?
you are
The
in the
only-
bathroom and then you
Mhm.
leave, like that's what
Right.
happens.
The only
Exactly.
problem that I have with that is that Brian turned off his phone. If Brian turns off his phone, that means that he's thinking that something is going to happen. He turns his phone off
Because he's a
Pullman.
professor, because that's what he does all the time.
He has a
Hey.
work phone and a play phone.
Right.
I'm not going to go
that's
around
possible,
with
but
doing drugs with my phone on.
right. No, but I think, and I think the police think that this was planned out. With whatever information that they have, I believe that they think this is planned out.
First
Now,
off,
is
yeah.
it?
His
What's
phone
that,
could have
Will?
also died.
First of all,
Right?
when you drink,
Or out of range.
you get hungry, bro.
I'm just simply saying this is how
I've been eating
college
pizza and I'm
life
thinking, like,
works. It just depends on what are your when they say creepy guy, okay? It just depends on what your normal. You say you
And
have
a creepy
him
guy could be
12
anybody.
times.
Yeah, a creepy guy could just be a guy who's just like a
I'm
creep,
just trying to throw out how it would be
Yeah,
that
right.
you wouldn't call the police right away because it was like,
Right.
I
Not
saw
at all,
so and so walking down from my thing. And yeah, he was in clad black because that's what he was wearing. But
I
because
100% agree
because
with
it was
that.
so dark, I didn't realize
Right.
that he was covered in blood because it was all black and it was dark.
Right.
Like who knows what that's going to come about. But I'm just trying to put it in perspective of how it could be you could actually have been there, and
Mhm.
numerous people could have been outside,
Right.
and this could have happened.
Mhm.
And because why would me, you, or anybody be going upstairs to check people's bedrooms to see how everybody is? Now, the
Right.
thing that doesn't make sense to me is if we just hang outside and we stay outside,
Mhm.
but in that type of a house, it was like the noise complaints was because you were outside hanging out. So you would
Right.
always be like, no, just come inside because that's how we've been getting in trouble is
Right,
because we're
but he
outside.
wouldn't be if that was true. They wouldn't be passing by so many times. They would have been parked there.
But
No, that's what I just said. I
Yeah.
hung by and picked up Mark. That'd be one time. Then she took the car and she picked up Susie. That's twice.
Right. That's nice. And if there's so here's the other part of it. That car is on camp. That car, there's a car exactly like the one they were looking for on Greek Road, parked in Greek Road camp parking. 2 of them.
Mhm.
There's 2 of them. There's parking permits. How much would it take for home? So I feel that, so I hear what you're saying. And I think that you're right. That first of all,
It's a free for all.
it is. It's a free for all. And,
That's what happens in college. Because if you have to look at this, think about it as think about nothing happening that next day.
right. Like if everybody was fine.
Yeah, if it was every other night. Yeah.
Right.
Can you imagine on a night if this would have happened to me in college? Oh my God! Well, I let Amanda drive my car, and she went over there to the drive-thru to pick us up, Jameson. And then now that I think about it, shit, Todd took my car.
Right.
and he went over there and picked up the cheerleaders. So
And
like
what-
in an
right.
hour period, 2 people drove my car because my car is right there. It's
Mm-hmm.
accessible.
And we didn't have Yik Yak, and we didn't have Instagram, or
Exactly.
Snapchat rather. And Snapchat goes away once you open it, it's gone. They use
So-
it for.
Well, no, you can still get it, but
I hope they can pull it back because
they
it's on
usually can.
And I
Snapchat.
asked
Yeah.
my daughter. I don't know if it was in her. But the thing is, that's what happened with my daughter. She didn't really actually know who was in her home when I didn't know who was in her home.
Right. So,
Right?
so let's try to go back. So you call her, your daughter says that she was aware of it. You contact the FBI to let them know that your daughter was aware of the situation. You said that you had a son who was in the classroom next to his.
Classroom 13.
Right. And then you had a family friend that took his class. Is that correct?
My daughter's friend took her class. And so she actually, I'm not going to lie, I have no shame in my game. I said, call the girl, if you want my car, call her and find out exactly what he looked like that next Monday. Right. So, of course, she did, right? And it's not that she wouldn't have anyway. It's just that it was a fight when we're at this place right now because of this, because she doesn't want this to be her reality, and it is. So I give her grace on that. But he had nothing, no bruises, nothing. In fact, everybody got an A.
Right.
And he was an asshole teacher, TA, I guess. And so being part of the Pullman, so I got a phone call from the school to tell me that part of the PhD, and I didn't even ask for the call back. Somebody must have seen what I was saying, because I'm not going to shut up until this is gone and these kids are safe and these parents have justice. I'm just not gonna. I don't care if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna keep pushing. So I got a phone call from whatever department it was, and they said that it's required by the PhD, and there was only 2 offered. They're very rarely offered in criminal justice at Wazoo anyway, and it's a very good program, is my understanding, from my son. And they said that you have to do like a year internship on the Pullman Police and then a year of TAing. So he was fulfilling that. So he had access, and so then I did call back, and he had absolute access to everything. And also people. Do I believe he's the mastermind behind this? I absolutely do. Do I believe he hurt one of the girls? I absolutely do. Do I think he's the only one who hurt the girls? I absolutely do not. I believe that his little minions are the ones he rallied with that survey, and his tower that they took out of his apartment is useless. Tits on a freaking bull, man. Like, what? They don't use towers there. They use their MacBooks, and they use their right.
They just took out a 2012 tower. That's what they just took out.
What do you think's going to be on there?
Some
There's gonna
porn.
be a peanut butter jelly sandwich in that hard drive. Do we even have hard drive anymore? And I am technically stupid. Honest to God. If you need me to run something, I'm going to have one of my kids do it for me, or you're going to have to wait until they get home. That's just facts. I don't care to learn. I'm not going to learn. But these kids, they can work it all. They're not reliant on anything. And if they think they're picking up anything from his stick thing, yeah.
The fire stick?
His dick? Wait, what?
No, the fire stick.
Right? Does that work? I didn't think it worked.
Probably not. Well, according to Jared, he's a top or a bottom now or something like that. Did you hear that news, Slate?
You know what? I just want him to have 20 minutes in general pop with a broom and his mother. Because if I was that kid's mother, I'd be out there myself, throwing myself to the wolves. Because guess what? Guess what, lady? Don't go. Just I have so.
I believe in innocent until proven guilty.
I agree.
This is what I think. I think that you got all the evidence. You're gonna be able to get the people that are responsible. I just don't want to see something get thrown under the rug.
I agree. That's exactly where my heart is. I don't want these kids to think they're safe when they're not, and they think they're safe. My kid's out there, and she could be one of those girls, right? I mean, she's that person. They're all the same.
Kim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Of course I can, Blue.
First
Again,
of all,
I just want to say, go ahead, Blue. I just want to say thank you for being here, Blue.
First, I want to say, Kim.
Yes.
We want to apologize to all the parents of those families. They've been through a struggle.
Terrible.
They've been through a horrible time.
Yes.
We want to let you know, if it was my daughter, I would be knocking down doors. Seriously.
Oh,
If it was
right.
one of my daughters, there would be no doors on hinges.
Well, if it was our daughter, I'd be jumping over you to get to them because I tell you what, you don't get the right to do like
I will rip doors off hinges. Trust me.
I will eat you.
None of the bastards can hold me
I do.
down.
I agree. And I think, and the thing is, and I look at Steve, Kaylee's dad, and I watch the undercurrent of it, and I'm watching all of these
So
things, and I think to myself,
Steve,
he is brave. You are a soldier, and I'm
my
watching
heart
him
goes out
like
to you,
this.
Steve.
Oh God.
If
And
I
then
was
the more
you,
shit and
I'll
people make up stuff and it comes out, it's terrible. The things people are saying, and I want everybody to know right now, if your daughter is in college and she's lovely like those girls, or even if whatever, all of these kids are lovely. They are all smart. They are all intelligent. They have all done amazing things and they will do amazing things. And if they take a misstep, well, guess what? A one-off is what college is about. My husband says constantly, college is about a one-off. You don't get to drink in high school. You don't get to do all that. We will punish you. But when you go to college, I'm going to buy you a case of beer and I'm going to tell you to go and grow. I want all of those parents to know that Kaylee's father and those families need to reach out to him and thank him because he is advocating for all of those kids. He cares about all of those kids. And Olivia, her sister's never going to get to see her new child. Like, there's so much loss here and so much pain. And this cannot continue because we have lost so many children at both of these schools. We just had a law passed, the San Martinez law for hazing
I
yesterday.
was just gonna say there's so much hazing going on. People don't realize that.
And I will tell you, my son, he's an athlete, but he's a baller. But he opted out of Greek because, there's a lot of poor choices being made. And I called the police. I've called the police now for 2.5 years about stuff that's going on. My daughter wears an alarm because she just has to in case she passes out from whatever. And she's fine. She's just fine. But so I know them, right? I'll call them. I'm like, can you check if she's down? I got 3 beeps, which means to go check on her, right? But my son saw things and I reported them. And only to be told by the police officer that it's far worse than that. It's heroin too. That is unacceptable. Shut Greek Road down. And that's what I've called for. I called the school and said, I want to shut down. I will pay the rest of her dues for the remainder of her education, but shut it down and then take away Mom's Weekend and see what happens. See how many kids show up when there's no more Mom's Weekend. Right?
Right. So
Yeah. No, I think that. Yeah, I think that.
And I suffer
Hazing is a
too
big
with
part.
that, right? Take away graduation until one of you speaks up because you all know. This is not one campus, it's 2 campuses. They're connected, they're not rivals, they are friends.
Yeah.
so
Especially the
Kim,
girls, like there's no rivals there. Like
No.
you're not like, oh
They
my
love
God, you go to
each
this
other.
school, we can't be friends. Like
Right.
that's like
That's
the
ridiculous.
athletes. That's where the rivalries with athletes, but we didn't hate on the other athlete. That's not how
And
that
the
was.
athletes they're not even
We
the same.
win on the court, we lose on the
Yeah.
court. We don't
Right.
go and like fight people. Like that's
They
not how
don't
it
even
is.
meet on the court. UI is I think small D1 and I think Wazoo is I don't know is big what I don't know, but they're different leagues or they never meet ever. But they wanted to blame the team. Now I do need to say this because I feel like it's absolutely so. I'm Sigma Chi, and if you are a Sigma Chi and you're listening, you know that you tweeted out that your theory is as a house and as a national fraternity, you said that you believe it was the Black Lives Matter house with the Black Lives Matter flag out in front of it, or Davies, the football team you played that weekend, because they were primarily known as a black college, as retaliation. They killed these kids as retaliation for one of a Sigma Chi who was a black man, a young black man with a brilliant future, was found hanging in his fraternity house. And I don't know what state it is, but he was not just found hanging, he was found beaten. And then the Sigma Chi guys from Moscow from U of I said, we know that you all think Moscow is racist, and it probably is, but we're not. I said, and my reply to them was, congratulations, dads. You have done a remarkable job in getting your children to make a statement out there, to cover their asses for bad behavior or poor behavior, and make it a race issue. What is like, I don't even really have the words to articulate exactly what I'm trying to say.
I think you're just disappointed in the philosophy of what Greek life has come. That's
I
what I'm kind of
really am.
gathering.
I have 7 children, and I'll tell you, they've all gone to college. They all are successful in any way, I think, in any way you look at it. And I have to tell you, Greek life is disappointing. Like,
So,
it needs to go
so
away.
Kim, I got a few questions.
Okay.
You said when we spoke that that Bryan was on a PhD, whatever, like internship or whatnot, and that based on his level of education, already having the degrees, that he would have privilege or access to some of the Washington State, Washington WSU police departments. I guess maybe their department or an
Well,
office or something.
Well, so my understanding is they have an Washington State University. Something has gone. Well, I think that whatever happened with that police officer who was found, who's was fired, and then the other guys who stepped down or retired early. I believe Pullman took over Washington State University's campus, but Washington State University has a very good like top tier criminology department. And they have all of that access in there. So Moscow and Pullman both feed into the same 911 line and I believe it is within Wazoo's boundaries. I could be off on that statement, so don't.
No, the Wazoo's police department, it's something calm. They get all the 911 calls to the area.
Right. And so, but I believe Pullman is in charge of that now, because I don't know what's happening with the Wazoo portion of it, but my understanding is that Pullman is the one who's directing that. So as a PhD student, he's got several requirements. I think it's a 2-year program. He has to be a TA for, I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2 years, but he also has to be a volunteer for the police department, Pullman Police, which would have been Wazoo then, but Pullman Police, which would have made him basically a security guard of the group. Basically, I think is what it kind of boils down to, which is what he was doing. So he wasn't just applying to get on. He was put into the PhD program. There's 2 people who were put into the PhD program last year, as far as I know. That's my understanding. If there's more, then I apologize for that. And he was put in there because of his teacher, who had never met him personally, never even seen what he looked like, didn't know if he was married, but was his student and felt he was quite bright and absolutely very, very capable and would do a tremendous job that way in that department. So there were 2 of those students. He shared an office with 3 students, which is what PhD students get. A lot of PhD students are TAs because they're going to be professors, I guess, is the thought process there. So he was that, and he was, so during the day, if anybody wants to know what he was doing on a Thursday, he was volunteering because it was parents'
Hey,
weekend.
Kim, I'm not sure if something's touching your microphone or something.
Sorry, did I go away?
Yeah, you were going away a little bit there. It's okay.
I can overheat my microphone like I can overheat my world. Like, right? I run fast enough. I'll slow down a little bit. Tea's wearing off. So I will say that so he was volunteering. It was Parents' Weekend. In the fall, Parents' Weekend was typically Dad's Weekend, and it is a shit show. They have the best time ever, and I say to my husband, more power to you, man. I'll drive you. I will be your driver. Enjoy our children, do whatever you have to do, right? And that's what most of the moms do. Spring is Mom's Weekend, but they've changed it a little bit. But so it was chaos there, and he was working. If anybody wants to know what he was doing the day of the 12th, he was directing traffic.
That's
he was
what I've been
basically
saying.
a patrolman. Yes, I know you have. And I try to shit onto that. I'm not very good at tech. I'm not going to even lie. I only figured out how to pay for everything or to do everything. Like, I don't even know. I don't like.
He's been doing traffic. He's been doing crowd control.
Right. All of it. Yeah.
I'm telling you, when you guys see where that white Elantra backs up to, I'm telling you, it's going to back up to
1,000 Latte Lane, right?
It's going to go all the way right back to the WSU campus police department.
Yeah.
Because that's where his car was parked because he wouldn't get a ticket because parking permits. Okay, so that's just clicked. Park it. So if you have a parking
can't.
pass, yeah, yes, doll.
I believe you.
I know you do, and I thank you for that. And I only need you to believe me.
So
And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
If those other people, I believe you.
You know what? I don't want to offend people, and I don't want to hurt people's feelings or make them feel scared. But if you're a parent and you've got a student over there, I feel like you should be
All right,
cautious.
Kim, I have a thing. Here you go. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I call it drill 22. I'm going to ask you 22 questions. You can only answer with one question or one answer.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Okay, ready? Number 1. Are you so you're going to say over or under? Are you over or under the age of 50?
Over.
Okay. Number 2. Would you send your kids back to the same college campus that you originally sent them to?
No.
Okay. Number 3. Do you believe that drugs were being bought and sold from that house?
Yes.
Number 4. Do you believe that it was just a simple, that's college lifestyle versus like this is a business?
No.
So it's more than that.
Yes.
Okay. Number 5. Have you ever heard about any of the landlords being involved in anything?
No.
Number 6. Have your kids ever been to that house?
No.
Number
Not
7,
that I'm aware of.
Number 7. Have your kids ever heard of his name versus creepy guy?
One maybe, one yes. One maybe, one no. I mean,
So like
creepy
a
guy.
first name?
So, I don't believe either one of them
Okay.
knew who he was. So,
Number 10. What type of music do your kids listen to?
oh, really bad music, but a lot of it, like the swearing music.
Yeah. Like rap?
Yeah, right. Unedited if I'm in the room. if I'm in the
Unedited
room,
all day. Okay, good.
All day, right? I'm good with that sometimes.
Number 11. Are you okay with kids underage drinking?
No.
Like in college?
Yes.
Like it's going to happen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If they're safe.
Yeah. Okay. Like it's going to happen. Like
Yes.
why would you? Okay. Okay.
Right.
What drugs have you heard about in terms of when you said there's drugs in the house? Like there's a rapid fire of different drugs. What drugs are we talking about?
Molly, heroin, meth, weed, which is legal in Washington. I don't care. Those are the only drugs I know. Oh no, Adderall. I did learn about that. My son did tell me about Adderall recently.
Have you ever heard about Narcan?
Yes, I know that's to save somebody's life.
Okay. Number 13. Have you watched the body cam footage
Yes.
of the house?
Yes, I have.
Did your kids watch it?
I think probably not. Not
Okay.
close enough.
Okay. Tell them to watch it and see if they notice anybody. We want to know who the ride along is. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to send you the link.
I
want to know
know
who the
I
ride
have
along
that.
is.
I agree with you. I have that. Yeah, right.
Okay.
I have it.
Perfect. Number 15. Do I look better in my aviators or does Daniel?
Oh, I don't know. You know what the thing is? You're so pretty. Take your glasses off. And he's really cute in his glasses. Honestly, and
I just had to break it up. I just had to.
I know, right? I think you're too beautiful to hide behind glasses, and I think he's handsome in glasses, right? We gotta choose.
So it's even.
Yeah, you're both pretty good looking, honestly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we'd make a good baby.
Oh, right,
I-
right. But you already have a baby, right?
Yeah, I
Samuel?
do. I do.
Yeah. But you know what the thing is? Everybody makes good babies. Are good. Like there's nothing
Oh,
better
babies
than a
are the
baby.
best.
Obviously, I
Babies
have
are the
7 kids. I love it.
7. Did you birth all 7?
I did birth all 7.
Woman.
All 108 pounds of me birthed all 7. But I also have a degree in exercise physiology and anatomy. So I also am a runner. So, you know,
Okay.
I love children. Like when God handed me that baby, I thought, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. No, momming is like the hardest job ever. So anybody
And
right? Yeah. 100%.
But being a grandma, I'm telling you, it's like so amazing.
Oh my
I can
God,
buy
your
them
grandma too.
anything I want.
You're a gilf,
What's that?
a grandma.
I
Are you
am.
grandma? Okay,
I
they
am a grandma.
know. They know then.
I
Okay,
have 7 grandchildren.
perfect. Okay, so number I think we said 15, or that was 15. So number 16. Um,
Do you know who supplied the drugs?
I don't know enough to tell you. I know that person. I've told the police who I believe it is, but I can't put anything behind that other than
Do
hearsay.
you think it was from the sorority?
No.
Sigma Chi.
I think Sigma Chi is I think that, so with my nerve verbiage, I think that they're the
It's
plug.
possibly from a fraternity.
I believe that they are I think Sigma Chi, and I'll actually, guys, you know what? If Sigma Chi, you're listening, I'll go to town with you. Take me to court. Take me to church. I'll take you back because I do believe they are. And Pi Paps at Wazoo, and I will say that out loud and I will scream it. I stand behind what I
So
say.
you had mentioned, without throwing the names out, that there was a few houses within Washington and in Idaho that were known to be a place where you could score some drugs. How
Yeah.
many of those houses are there?
That I know of 5
Okay.
between the two. And the police have had that for 2 years. This information is not new to them. I've given this to them for 2 years, which is why I called the FBI when I first found out about what happened, because I knew it was connected.
Okay, well, I have a piece of fact for you guys. So
Good.
volunteering is not a requisite because of the PhD program, because it can and it would violate the Americans with Disabilities Act. So they can't require it, but he could be an intern, but it is not a requirement of the program. So I went ahead and I looked that up.
Okay, so I will go through and find the information I received, and I'll send that to you because I didn't know that. I didn't know the rules. She told me.
It just in terms of like requirement, but
Right.
he did 100%. Like he filled out an
Right.
application to be an intern, and I
Right.
believe that he would have been accepted based on his
Right.
everything that he would have had. I don't know
Right.
how you're not accepting him. He's a PhD student.
Right.
He's teaching. So, but I went ahead and I looked something up, and I just wanted
Good.
you guys to know that.
And that's good to know because I'm going to turn that around on the school on Monday for sure.
Yeah. Tell them that
because I have that, and I will send
it's
you.
against the Disabilities Act. He cannot be required to do the volunteering, and I can send you all that too.
Perfect, and we will approach the school together on that because the school. So what
But I do believe he was an intern. I do believe he was working for WSU, and I do believe that was the problem with if they release certain things, it would come out of what he was doing with WSU in terms of like that's where you're talking about.
Right.
And I just think that it needs to come out. And I think that
Definitely.
it will, but I'm telling you right now, Ann Taylor slapped it down.
She's-
She put her motion in. She wants to up this. She wants to get a reduced bail. They have something, and whatever they have, it's not, they're not trying to do this to get in the court so that he can plead guilty to something. That's not what this is about. Ann Taylor is coming full force, asking for reduced bail, asking to push up the preliminary hearing, and they're coming with something. And I just think that people need to be aware of that.
Right.
That's coming.
I think you're right. And she's done that before. That's her
Yeah.
MO. Like
And-
if you have an MO as an attorney.
And she sniffs out, if we have anybody on this force that has been in a situation where they have been caught in a compromised situation with their quote unquote reports,
right.
you know, she's going to go to town on that. But I think at the end of the day, whoever is guilty, I think that this encompasses a lot. I think that to try to save something, they may try to bury, to try to save the university's certain, persona.
Their numbers or
this, that, or the other. Mm-hmm.
If you go through and look at their police reports, their activity log, so schools are, I learned this with this, ranked by the reports they put in. They don't report it. Now I know I've made a plethora of reports. Oh God, all day long I will make a report. If I see it, if I see somebody littering, I'll tell. Well, probably not, but I'm just saying, I'll tell. I say something. They do not report. They respond. They don't report. Reports don't go into the measured system of schools, like has of the rankings for schools. And so Washington State University wants to keep their ranking. In fact, they've actually amped up their actual way to graduate, right? You have to have better grades or whatever. And my kids had good grades or whatever, but they've made it harder to graduate from there now. So they're paying attention to that. That's the monies they get. All of it. It's federal, right? It's all politics. And I truly believe that one of the people involved absolutely has a parent or a relative. And you can come at me, bring it. I will talk to you. I will speak to you if this is your child I'm speaking about. So you know that people has an uncle who's top tier in the legal system in Idaho. And this is why we are here. He is the one who turned. And I don't think anybody would argue that with me.
You also know that it is up for re-election year, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So
You
we
also
want
know
this
that I call him Dick Tracy. I think it's Dennis. Dick Tracy. Yeah, he only prosecutes, like, he stays away from males in the Greek life, and he prosecutes drinking and stays away from assault and
right, assault and battery. And do you know how many millions of dollars that family gives to the schools?
Yeah,
The school at U of I? Over $1 million a year.
Yeah, I think people need to really look into, like, all that stuff that's going on. But I think at the end of the day, anybody that's talking about, and made a motion on 111, just because you wrote something in on 111 and you think it's outdated, it's when somebody gets to something. But 100% they're going back into the courtroom on April 26th, I want to say.
That I think, but I think that they're gonna pop up with something sooner. And I kind of knew this all along, because that thumbprint, he can explain. His sister already did. She wrote a letter.
Yeah. Well, I'm just simply saying about when they're going back into court. They're going back into court on April 26th to reduce bail, and they're going to be talking about pushing his preliminary hearing up from the
He no longer needs
26th. They're going to try to push that up.
So I have a question. Where does he go? Where do they put him? Where do they put him then? Where does he go?
No, I just mean they're going to push up the date to hear it.
I know. But if he gets released on bond, even with a bracelet or an ankle bracelet, whatever, where does he go? What community does he enter?
I think he would be in witness protection.
He'll probably go back home to where mommy and daddy are. Now,
here, I'll take him for a hot minute. I'll take him for a hot 10. Are you kidding? I will.
So you had mentioned.
I don't necessarily think that he's going to get it, but I do. I agree with JD there. I just believe that we have to stick to the Constitution. Otherwise,
I agreed.
Everything goes out the window.
I would have run a lot of people over by now if it wasn't against the law. I would have.
Yeah. So
I own that.
It's just because when you have somebody, you have them. You don't need to do anything fancy.
Right.
If somebody is so dead in the water and they did this, just do it the right way and you're fine.
And
all this secretive shit, like, why do you need to be so secretive? There's nothing to be secretive about.
Well, I think if we get down to the Christ Church, and all of you haters hate me more, I don't care. Their theology, their ideology is insane. You think somebody's going to tell me what to do, or one of my girls? I tell you they are not. Nor are they going to tell my sons that. We are individuals. We are people. We have rights, right? Exactly what you're saying. But I think that we have to get deeper there. Moscow was like actually Russia during COVID. We went there to play ball so my kid could play ball. It was the only city in the country, literally. I bought more plane tickets to go all over the world for my kid to play ball so he could be on the circuit, so he could be seen, and to not get an he didn't need it. He doesn't need a scholarship, obviously. But I mean, we'll pay for a school, but an opportunity. Only place in the world, literally, was Moscow, Idaho, and Garden City, Idaho, which is actually lovely. Garden City is lovely. It's
this is what I recommend, Kim. I recommend seeing if somebody will go ahead and look at digital stuff of, like, your kids or whoever contacted them, and actually sit down and do, like, a digital footprint of when they were called or when they were told anything. And then I would turn that over to, because I know if I was a parent and in the situation of something happened to my child,
Mhm.
I'd want to know, like, I would want to know these things. So I would want the information, and I
So
would
should I
talk
just turn my
to,
cell phone bills over to, like,
yeah, like I would look at your cell phone bills yourself, and then
yeah,
look at the dates and ask your,
right?
your children to look at the dates, and just look at your cell phone bills, put together the timestamps, and then if they saved any Snapchats, they can actually do digital polls on that. Everybody thinks that Snapchat is gone after the, like,
Yeah.
the 24 hours. That's totally not true.
Oh,
They can go ahead and dump
yeah.
all of that. Yeah, oh, hell yeah. They teach you that. They teach you that, like, there's certain apps out there that you think are like the safest, but they're not. If you want something that's probably like the safest in terms of like encrypted stuff, it's probably WhatsApp.
Oh, right. That's overseas. When my son goes overseas, he uses WhatsApp. That's
Yeah,
probably
but I think that if you truly feel this way and you feel that, you know that something is off, I would sit down and get all of the things that could prove that, you know
Mhm.
point, and then talk to somebody that you trusted, whether it was a law enforcement agent or a lawyer, and say, hey, we want to get this in the hands of, you know,
right.
the police. Or I would also go to the family. I would do both.
So I have reached out. Olivia told them that they can ask me any question. I will answer it. There's things
Yeah.
I don't want to say that I know. I would tell Steve because Steve has seen the worst of the worst. Like,
Yeah. If there was just something that there was, if it was there, and I mean,
nobody.
I just wouldn't want, for me as a parent, I know that I'd want anybody that was involved. I would want to know how this happened,
Mhm.
and I would want to make it so that this could never happen again.
So it could never happen, right? So it
Mhm.
can never happen again. Like, if somebody, and so Peyton has eyes on her, and still something happened last weekend in her house, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a message. Like, what is this, The Godfather? Are we really these people? Like, come on, that's ridiculous. But
Well, I
there was
mean, there
questions.
was the coyotes being thrown, or dead
Ugh,
animals being thrown on some
right,
sorority house before,
right.
while all this was coming out, and I think they think that was some sort of hazing event. Now, to kind of just go back to this situation, you had mentioned that the roommate, or the your daughter's friend and her boyfriend,
Hmm.
that there was a little bit of a change of a story as
Yes.
far as, where they were that night.
Hmm. Hmm.
Do you think that they are close enough to have been involved as far as being maybe one of the people that were outside that morning?
I do not believe that her sorority sister was, but I question. I do question, and I've stated this to all of them. I trust that Morgan wasn't. Oh God. Oh, but I said that. But I do not trust
The
that.
boyfriend.
And and as time continues to go on forward, I keep asking my kid, where did she sleep? Like, right? Like, why wouldn't I see her? Why was she gone by 7:30 in the morning if she was drunk till 2? Like, I don't understand. I dropped you off and then I picked you up and I never saw this kid. And I see this kid all the time. She's a kid I hug and say hello and ask how she is. I mean, I've known her for 4 years now. So I don't know her boyfriend. I know she's dated him for a long time. I've not seen him. I've rarely seen him, which isn't weird, really, necessarily. We don't really ever know the boyfriends. But so I don't, so yeah, and I think my daughter questions it. I think they all question it now. I think they just believe she crashed on the couch and she shot
Right.
him a message the next day. And I said, did she say it to your face? And
Wait. Somebody slept at the house?
so
At
where,
her daughter's house.
yeah. So where my daughter got the information from was from her sorority sister, not a roommate. The roommate is in a different program and
Right.
lives in a different city in the state of Washington. But she and several of the girls who are in her sorority house live in a different place because that's how they're finishing their college, right? But they're going to graduate together. So but when they're in town, they don't have a place to crash, so they had to crash at my daughter's house or somebody else's house, or maybe at UI where somebody's boyfriend is, or I don't know, like at the sorority house, because you can stay in any house if you are a member of that house in any state. So
Okay.
that's kind of so that's not an unusual thing for her to believe that she heard she was there with her boyfriend and left. That's not I don't find that to be alarming in any way, shape, or form. What I
Okay.
find alarming is the amount of information she had. And what my son said to me was, the relevant information she has on this crime is disturbing. And why?
Right.
And he's 20, like, right? I mean, he's not like, and you know, and he's a baller. So
I was
mean,
gonna say,
he's
is he an
awesome.
athlete? He's an athlete.
He's an athlete. So he opted out of Greek. He had an offer from every house. He opted out. He goes, Mom, I think I would die if I ever went to Greek. And I'm like, good, then don't go. And they frown upon that at Wazoo. They frown upon, but athletes can go to Greek parties because, you know, they're not allowed
We're
to be a part of
athletes.
that. Right, because you're athletes, right? Because you're an athlete, lady. That's right. And
We get invited to everything.
you know what? More
Yeah.
power to you, right? The best of the best you are.
Yeah.
Great.
That's the truth, though. Like, that's the truth. Like,
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I bounced back from every baby because I was.
they
a
wanted to
gymnast.
come to every party we threw, and
Right.
they were like, "You guys can come anytime." And I'm like, "Okay."
So,
You're a good
so
time,
Kim,
Charlie, but you're not embarrassing anybody or yourself.
Yeah.
Kim, we have a question from our chat. Some folks are wondering, did you mention that there was 2 cars at one point outside, or?
So my belief is that there's 2 cars. That's what I believe. I believe
Right,
one
but
is
you don't
for-
have anything concrete
Well, there's
about
pictures
it.
of that car on Greek Girl, yeah, at UI.
Okay.
And I don't know why they're not sharing that name, but they all know whose car it was,
Thank you, Mark.
right? So, all you know.
Oh, I
and
agree.
You can say whatever you want about JLR. I don't care. He owns his shit. He did his time. Paid for his time. He is. If you want somebody to dig something up, check it, like
He'll
in the
find it.
computer. Oh my! Like, honest to God, it's too bad he went to prison and he can't get a legit job because he's a felon, because he's brilliant. I'm thinking to myself, how did you find that? I'll shoot him something and he'll find it, and it'll pop up. And I will, and I shoot to you all the time, right? But all of you guys, both. I shoot just with discretion. I have 4 people I shoot to. You 2, him, and Olivia.
Hey, Kim.
Although I'll dive into a psychic once in a while because it intrigues me.
What's your question, Blue?
I was going to say, Kim, thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. You're welcome. And if you give me your number, I'll shoot you text too, because I shoot the detective all day long. If I see it, I shoot it to him.
Yeah.
Do I not?
You're drunk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, this is so sad. It's heart-wrenching because, you know, sometimes criminals get away.
I'm a comedian also. I joke around a lot. So thanks, Kim.
Yes, you're funny and sweet. Oh, you know
So-
what?
So Kim, you said that they described one of the guys that were outside as being the creepy guy.
Yeah.
Is that the guy that they also stated that they saw inside the house?
Oh. No, I have to think.
Thank you for coming on, Lana.
I have to
thank you.
think actually. So yes, I guess I believe that that's who that is, and I do believe it's him.
Gotcha. And so, did they? So the rumor is that, according to what you put together and what your daughters told you, you think that they dropped his name. They may have known who he was. Bryan.
Yes, I think that I hope that the roommates told them. I do. Yes, I believe that they know exactly who he was, and that's how they found out who he was so quickly.
Now, I remember the last time we spoke, you had mentioned there was another incident that had occurred that night and you couldn't remember. Was that the hit and run that occurred out there?
Yes, there was a hit and run, but there was something else, and I cannot put and I've looked through because all the Wazoo's records or the Pullman police records are like things are missing. So, yes, the hit and run I knew about, but there's something else that occurred, and I'm not quite sure. I truthfully, honestly,
What's
have
up, Molly?
not been on Molly who,
You know
right?
something else missing? My keys. My keys are missing.
I have not been on
That's good,
campus
Boo.
ever when there has not been a incident that required
Molly
police
gets wild.
response,
I'm
a
a fan.
gun, or anything. At one point, a year ago,
Yeah. How
my
you doing
husband,
tonight?
my husband and I were there, and the kids. There was a shooting, and that incident that occurred, and it must have been in September, like beginning of September. And my husband, I grabbed the girls and brought them inside, and there was a kid outside. I grabbed him inside. We went inside and we went down. My husband went to the sorority house and grabbed the girls and brought them back because we were going parents there. We were just bringing our son his suits for whatever he needed and visiting or whatever. So it was the first week of September. There was a shooting incident, and the guy who was shooting was standing right in front of the window, and I will tell you my daughter's address privately, but
Okay.
I'll do it privately, but not
Yes.
publicly, right? And so there has never been a time when we have been at that school where there has not been an incident that required police response or some kind of violence. That's unacceptable. And Peyton started her freshman year of high school after they went through Rush. Sam Martinez died from hazing.
Yep.
Right? And
Yep.
and that's unacceptable in my opinion. And these houses are dealing drugs out of them. Two specifically, and I've told the cop, and I call them all the time. Trust me, they know me by name, and I don't care. You can know me by name, you can criticize me, I can be wrong, but you know what? Somebody needs to say something at some point, right?
Right.
So,
I still have to finish my 4 questions, Kim.
I know. I'm waiting. Go for it, lady. Shoot.
Shit. Well, you said that obviously they go to WSU. They go to
One's going to
Idaho.
ASU.
It's only like 10 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Have your kids ever went to a bar on Idaho's campus?
Oh, so I asked, and that's really funny you say that. So Peyton just turned 21 this year. She had a fake, whatever. I don't care. Have a fake, whatever.
That's what happens in college.
Right? Like, I'm fine with that. And she said she's never been to the corner bar or club or whatever it's called, but she knows about it. And I said, why wouldn't you go? And she's like, I don't know. We just never got to it because we like V Hall or we like whatever. They have 4 bars in Pullman, which I find extremely boring. Don't tell her. But, it's like, yeah, there's way more fun out there. Like, honey, go to Seattle, then you'll have fun, right? Or whatever. So she said she hasn't, and she has no reason to lie to me because I don't.
Okay, wait. You only get to answer with 1 word.
Oh, sorry. I know.
I gave you like 20 seconds.
Okay. So
so you would say no.
No.
Okay. So
thank you for reining me in.
we already got the
Just.
No, we already got like that you were a fan of Jonathan Lee Riches, so we got that out of the way. So that was like number 12 question, so I get to throw that out.
You know what? You can throw me any questions you want. I will answer them as truthfully as possible.
Okay, so the SWAT shootout at WSU's campus.
Mm-hmm.
Did they get an alert for that, right?
Yes.
Okay. They went from using rubber bullets to using real bullets. Did they ever talk about that on campus?
No.
Okay. And then Kaylee's parents were told that there was like a shootout, that basically somebody came into a party and shot the place up using a gun, basically, instead of like that people were stabbed. Did you hear anything about a gun versus like stabs? Like, did your family know?
No. So no, that is, so I'll tell you the information I got. I know it's more than 1 word, but
Okay.
So my daughter called me on the morning of the 14th. She said, I want to stay because I want to go out. And I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. Your dad's driving over right now and he's bringing you home. And if you think you're staying, you're fucking wrong. So you're coming home. Thank God. So that evening, that night at 4 a.m. or 3:30, I got an alert, shot up, and what I got was South Side, which is where my son's dorm is, but he was home, is on lockdown. Stay shelter in place. SWAT's responding to a gunman who is shooting at two of his roommates in coffee house apartments. Coffee house apartments are Coug run. They are owned by Cougs,
Yeah.
right? And they are mixed people, like PhD people, people who are whatever, maybe people who are security guards. This guy let his roommates go.
Yeah,
There
he
was
let everybody go. The whole place was cleared out.
uh-huh.
They switched from rubber bullets to actual bullets.
Because so then recently I heard he lit a fire. Maybe
Okay, I haven't heard that.
they released the 911 and they said there was a fire. So I don't know if he lit the fire or if there was a smoke bomb. But that was on. That was on campus. That was not off campus. It was
Yeah.
on campus.
Okay, so like it was.
Right.
So we got two questions real quick I wanted to ask you. Do you know the person who owns the other mantra with the initials CK? Did you ever hear that?
Yes.
Do you know who that person is?
Yes.
Okay. And
Do you want to say their name?
Why the heck not? Well, should I?
Spray it.
His uncle is Showalters and Schrager, right? I mean, like everyone in that Sigma Chi house knows, including Hunter Chapin, which kills me.
now we have one other person saying that did she mean BK and two others were at 11:22 at the AM after?
Wait a second.
No.
Can I hear that one more time? Wait, what did you just say?
Me?
Yeah. Wait. You're saying that there's a white Elantra that goes by the initials CK.
Mm-hmm.
And
Showalter's parents asked, I think Showalter, I'll just say it. I don't care. Come at me, dude. Showalter said, I think he turned and his parents said, we want to work through it. I don't know where he is. This is all alleged, just so you know. This is my mom thoughts. As a mom, I would not let my kid play with your kid. I'm just going to say that straight. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think that, yeah, he was part of it. I don't think he knew he was going to be part of it, which is why he told his parents and turned. He was dropped from his house. Getting dropped from a house is brutal for kids and boys and psyches. He failed college, dropped out, and he failed. So where he could not come back. The first semester he failed, got dropped from his house for abusive behavior. Yes, I do believe that he was throwing carcasses at the fraternity houses, but I think he was emulating or copying the behavior of his brothers who did it several years prior.
The other question that came through was if you saw if the two others were after in the morning. That was that night, correct? When there was multiple people seen at the house.
No, I believe Hunter Johnson was at that house, and I believe Hunter Johnson followed Kaylee out of the house for the police, and he didn't do it for a reason. He didn't want to go to jail. He didn't have her back. He didn't care about anybody. Hunter Johnson, if you look at what he said about Ethan at his memorial service, watch it.
I got some information on that. We'll talk about that more after the show because I got a little bit of intel on that as well.
So, and my uncles are calling me now, so no, because my dad's gone. I think my uncles are actually, somebody's listening, and they're telling me, and I'm not going to be quiet because guess what? Hunter Johnson is, and I don't know where he's at. I do not think Jack D is involved. Do I believe Jack D knows what happened in Adam? Yes, I do. I believe they were taken down a rabbit hole and they were introduced to drugs, and I believe that it was a misstep and they didn't know what was going to happen and they didn't expect this to happen. And I think that some crazy ass, like that professor, whatever, I'm not going to even say his name, took advantage of that situation. I think it was
I think we should just stop talking about all of this. I'm not comfortable with any of this. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm just not comfortable
my
with any
uncles
of
are
this.
firing me.
So, like I'm just not comfortable with it. And
I appreciate your
I don't want you to say anything that you don't want to say, and I don't want you to say anything that
Right.
I just think that
Yeah, especially like if we're
I just think that-
speculating, you know,
I
we
don't feel
might.
like I'm speculating, but I do appreciate what you're saying.
yeah,
And I want my kids to be safe, and I don't
Yeah.
have my girl in my vision. So when I get her in my vision, and I will say
Yeah.
anything if my kids are safe. If I have to go, I have to. If someone wants to take me out, take me out, because I'm not going to
Yeah.
sit around waiting for bad to happen, because bad is happening. It is bad.
Um,
Yeah. Well, we're over 3 hours, so I think
yeah. We're getting kind of close to the end.
I do appreciate both of you, honestly.
Yeah. No, for sure. Don't go anywhere, Kim, because I want to talk to you a little bit further.
Yeah.
But we are going to be closing it down, y'all.
I just want to say thank you though to you guys. I want to say thank you to Kim. I want to say thank you to Blue and everybody that's been in chat. If you spent your Friday night being here with me, whether you love me or hate me, I'm that amazing that you spent your Friday night here. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I want to thank. Yeah.
I appreciate that too, and I want you to have my number because I will tell you everything. But be prepared. I will text you for days. I text
Yeah,
you
that's
my
fine.
date.
I just want everybody to, you know, this is the bottom line is that they have a guy, he's in handcuffs right now, he's behind bars, and I just want, you know, whatever the truth is
Right.
there, and I want everybody that is accountable, or I want everybody that is involved to be held accountable, because if it was my kid, okay, I wouldn't be. What do you mean immunity? There's no immunity here. Like
Like,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
you were involved in any capacity, like what do you mean immunity?
Right.
Well, we wouldn't get him if we didn't do this. And it's like, wait, what explain to me what happened though? What do you mean we have to give immunity?
Right.
So I want, if I was a parent in this type of a situation, I am a parent, and if
Mhm.
this was my kid, there's no way, like, I'm just not dealing with the devil. And I think that this is just way more in depth than people think. I think this goes to roots that people don't know. And I think that if you brush it under the rug, then you're being naive to how this ever could have possibly
Right.
happened. Because the
Right.
cops said from the get that this was a targeted, isolated attack. And I want to know why they would ever say that.
Right. And
Because
it's
I
like a
wouldn't feel
mushroom.
that it would be.
Right. And mushrooms grow from campus to campus, right? Mushrooms are a fungus.
So thank you though for having me.
Thank
And
you
then
so much.
I'm looking forward to next Friday where it's a double date. So we're here tonight. We're gonna be at my channel next Friday. So but thank you guys so much. And again, thank you, chat. Thank you to all your subs, members. Come on over next Friday. Daniel, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I think this was great. And
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everybody in the live chat. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Lana. Big Blue. He, I'm not sure where he went, but
Well, he's tucked in tight, and he should be sleeping.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's knocked out somewhere.
He's
But
a doll face, though. He's a love.
I want to appreciate everybody in the live chat. Thank you guys so much. But this is going to be a wrap. Don't go away, guys. I want to talk to you guys for a little bit further.
all right, thank you guys so much.
Peace.
All right, bye guys.
Okay.
1 sec. It's still